Welcome, everybody, to the Ring Generals podcast. This is a podcast primarily about wrestling, the MMA world, and a little bit about boxing as well. And to be honest, whatever else we want to talk about on the podcast. I am Nick Nenad. With me is Eric Santos and the RKJ Man, Ryan Johnson.
What's happening? How's it going?
What up, y'all?
This is going to be a podcast primarily done about wrestling. Like I just mentioned, we're going to have 3 topics on the day. Each time we do a podcast, they're going to be called the Triple Threat topics for the podcast. The Triple Threat topics for the podcast today are the Royal Rumble is coming up this weekend. Big 30-man Royal Rumble, of course, for the men, and also brand new 30 women Royal Rumble this year that Ryan is, for some reason, shaking his head on when I say that.
We need to talk about this, man. We need to talk about the women's Royal Rumble and the BS that could ensue on Sunday.
Interesting take there by Ryan. Ryan also has a segment on the show that's called Ryan Rants, so eventually he's going to get his topic probably about the women's Royal Rumble. To be honest, that will probably be his topic. As far as the rest of the show goes, we're also going to be talking about Raw 25th anniversary of Raw. I know Ryan has a lot of passionate opinions about that.
I thought it was the worst. I thought it was one of the worst Raws I've ever seen.
Hold on. Wait till we actually
already.
get to the segment.
Kicking things off already.
What can I say? It was absolute garbage. It was BS. And if you want to start off 2018 with something cool and something exciting that'll get your casual fans into the product, the Raw 25th anniversary was your perfect opportunity, and you did a terrible job. We're going to talk about that, Nick. Keep going.
We are also going to talk about UFC 220 and a little bit about the Bellator card also that happened last Saturday as well. But, guys, this is our first podcast ever, the Ring Generals. I can't wait to do this.
Hey, man, salute to the Ring Generals listening right now.
Absolutely.
You out there.
No, this is fun. We've been talking about this for months, trying to get this going. Eric, Ryan, and I are all really good friends. Wanted to do a podcast, so we're starting it right now in the small studio we possibly could have used for this podcast. So why don't we get started? Let's start talking about the Royal Rumble, right? That's our first topic.
Man. Raw 25th anniversary.
You want to talk about Raw 25th?
Let's talk about that, man.
Change it up, all right?
Hey, man.
Let's do it.
Y'all see Jim Ross and Jerry the King Lawler sleeping the other night? Like, what's going on with that?
I'm going to look this up right now because I have not seen this.
How do you not see that, Nick? Are you even on Twitter during
I'm on Twitter more than you, so
But are you on Twitter during Raw, though?
No, I watched it at like 11 o'clock. I'm not going to give away the results. I'm not going to give away the results.
You could have looked at your old tweets, whatever.
I did see that. I did see that because thanks to Taz's other podcast, yes, we do look at other podcasts. But, I was surprised that Jerry Lawler and JR were sleeping. But then, again, at the same time, you got to understand, there were 2 events going on in 2 different arenas, the Manhattan Center and the Barclays Center.
But they had nothing going on in the Manhattan Center, Eric. I could see, if the Manhattan Center was popping and everything was going. But The Undertaker came out for a 3-minute promo. You had DX come out for like the most awkward 10 to 15-minute segment. You had some random match between Woken Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt, in which Vince McMahon had Woken Matt Hardy lose. I mean, come on. And then you had some 205 live segments that didn't even air on television. Come on, man.
I thought that,
it's disrespectful.
I mean, yes, the Manhattan Center, the place where Raw started in the first ever show back in 1993. At first, I thought that everything was going to take place in that arena, but then I looked at it and I was talking to my sister about it, and we were just looking at ourselves. What is this? Is this some sort of viewing party? Because everything took place.
Party?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
It. Yeah.
Because everything took place at the Barclays Center, and I looked at it and I'm saying to myself, if this is going to if this is going to turn into a viewing party every Monday night, why don't you guys just bring back the WWF New York bar that they had back in the early 2000s.
Well, I think that was too expensive, right?
Yeah, it was.
It's
just
a little
too expensive for $1 billion company.
I know, but in New York and and Times Square, that's a really expensive property.
Yeah. I don't want to hear
too whatever, man.
Oh, yeah,
$1 billion company.
Look, man,
traded throughout the world on the stock exchange.
It doesn't matter. It's all about your. Hold on, it's all about your revenue, right? Yeah. And they're not making enough revenue. But hold on, let's get back to the fact that the two best announcers Undertakers in the history of the company were sleeping. I mean, they were on that sleep like, I'm going to church, pastor's been talking too long, my team is playing, I haven't eaten in a long time, I'm ready for some fried chicken
like Ryan
type
on a
sleep.
Sunday.
No, man. I switched churches, man. I couldn't do that anymore, man.
You would have fallen asleep, wouldn't
Yeah,
you?
I would have fallen asleep, man. Actually, I used to sit up in the front, so I couldn't fall asleep. My
Yeah.
dad could have fallen asleep. But, at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, to have so little events at the Manhattan Center, and then when you do have something at the Manhattan Center, to just completely fall. Like, what was that Undertaker promo about? Is he retired or not?
It kind of made me like, what was he saying? I mean, it was great to see him back, but what was that supposed to mean? Like, it wasn't cryptic or anything like that.
Well,
I just
you know what I saw too? A lot of the thing about the Manhattan Center on that night was a lot of the fans kept shouting stuff while people were doing promos, so I couldn't, I was getting confused at what they were saying, because when the Undertaker was talking, there was people yelling in the background. I could barely hear his promo. Like, there was people in the background where it's like, they're shouting stuff and he's trying to say this promo, and I'm thinking about the guy, what he's shouting, right? Because WWE fans try to get involved and stuff like that. So I don't know. I thought the Undertaker promo didn't need to be in that arena too, especially his entrance is kind of one of the main things you want to see when you see the Undertaker.
Well,
and all he did was walk out essentially through a curtain and just walk to the ring 2 feet in front of him. I thought the Undertaker segment should have happened at the Barclays Center, because you could have had the entrance. There would have been a lot more allure to it.
You wanted Druids? Is that what you wanted? Yeah.
the Druids,
hell is that?
guys
The
with
Druids. How are you going to not know what the heck Druids is?
What is that? I don't even know what that is. Right, you got to remember, I didn't watch wrestling back in the 90s. I wasn't watching it in 2000.
Oh, you were watching. You weren't
yeah.
watching during the Attitude Era. You
No,
weren't watching during the
was
height
not.
of the Attitude
I
Era.
was young.
My
Right?
bad.
I was young.
My bad.
My parents wouldn't allow me to watch wrestling back then.
The dudes who come out with the flame torches as the Undertaker is
I
coming
got
out.
you. Okay, well,
yeah.
see, I just call those guys with torches. I don't call them Drews.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right.
Well, that's
Salute the guys with torches out there, man.
Well, that's what they're known for. The guys dressed in black. They've been doing it for quite a while. Even at WrestleManias, there were times when they would show up during Undertaker's entrances. So yeah.
He didn't
that's what
even
they would
need
call
those
it.
guys.
He didn't
I was
need
just
it,
saying,
but-
I just think I went to WrestleMania 26 back in the day, and I remember one of the main things I
Oh,
wanted
rub
to
in
see.
that you can go to WrestleMania.
I just went, man.
Yeah,
you know,
and that makes you even more angry. I just went, man, to WrestleMania. Anyway, keep
That's the
going.
my parents
yeah.
surprised me for Christmas that year. It was good. It was fun.
Okay, it's not making it any better. Keep going. Thanks.
So I went
appreciate
to
it.
WrestleMania 26 in Phoenix, Arizona, in the University of Phoenix Stadium. If you guys wanted to know that, by the way,
I ordered that pay-per-view.
you ordered that pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Ryan probably didn't order.
I
that
didn't order
pay-per-view.
that pay-per-view because I was too cheap.
Too cheap, but he'll take an Uber here for $40.
Shedding
I
some
know.
It
truth.
makes no sense.
I know.
No, but yeah, back to Undertaker.
Sorry.
I
Yeah,
had no
sorry.
money during that time.
One of the reasons I wanted to go to WrestleMania was to see the Undertaker's entrance, because that year he was facing Shawn Michaels in a match. It ended up being Shawn Michaels' last match, but nonetheless, the Undertaker's entrance was a big thing I wanted to see. So if you're watching Raw, one of the things I wanted to see on Monday night was the Undertaker's entrance, since they had said that he was going to be there. It wasn't going to be a surprise. So to have him just walk out in the Manhattan Center like it was like an indie show was kind of weird for me at first, but then I kind of understood the underlying reason why he was there. He was on the first one, so
Yes.
25
Yes.
years later,
So he has to
he's
be.
on exactly. He's on the last one. That's probably why DX was there too.
And that sells
Yeah.
tickets, too.
Exactly. And so when he came out, I was like, okay, I wonder what he's going to do. Maybe someone's going to interrupt him.
John
we
Cena.
talked about John Cena possibly interrupting him, so I was kind of waiting for that. But no, he kind of just hit this normal-sounding promo where I couldn't tell whether he was retiring or whether he was saying that he wanted to continue. So personally, for me, I was confused by the whole Undertaker thing.
I think honestly the WWE doesn't even know if he's clear to compete yet or not. So if we don't know, if they don't know, then we sure as heck don't know.
Good point.
And
us.
the issue is now is because of that promo, it just leaves all the fans frustrated and confused. So, at this point in the game, you were supposed to build up Royal Rumble. You was also supposed to set up your WrestleMania storylines. And that's another thing I was upset with on Monday night. There was no WrestleMania storyline set up on Monday
Well,
night.
you
in
don't
my
necessarily
opinion.
need WrestleMania storylines because the
You need
Rumble
it.
hasn't happened. And my one thing about John Cena possibly coming out and interrupting the Undertaker was if he's in the Royal Rumble match, then he's probably going to lose the Royal Rumble match if he's already starting something with The Undertaker, which I've never liked if you're giving away results.
So are you saying that The Undertaker interferes in John Cena's match? Or is that what you're trying to predict?
No, I don't think Undertaker's going to have anything to do with John Cena. There's been multiple superstars, and we saw on Raw, Elias actually end up beating Cena down on Raw.
But that's not going to be a WrestleMania storyline.
You never know, though. It's at least going to be a Royal Rumble storyline in the Royal Rumble.
Samson versus Jericho is a more attractive storyline.
It's not Samson.
Well,
Come on,
I'm sorry. My bad. They changed his name. Although
Just
I like
Elias.
Elias. Who's going to stand with Elias?
You haven't walked with Elias yet?
Oh,
yeah,
is it stand or walk with them?
Is it
stand or well?
It's walk
with Elias.
Well, whatever. You stand too while you're walking, so whatever. But like at the end of the day, whatever. What?
You can't stand and walk at the same time.
You can't stand and walk. You stand,
No,
okay, and then you start walking.
You either walk or you are standing there.
Whatever.
No, I walk standing.
We're having a debate over standing and walking.
Whatever.
Wow.
Whatever. At the end of the day, when it comes down to it, I think the Undertaker promo was pointless, and there's no point in having him there at Raw 25 if you're not going to either provide closure on what happened at last year's WrestleMania or provide a build-up for this year's WrestleMania.
Correct. No, that's a very good point you make, and I completely agree. I just think the promo, and then especially it being in this super small like indie arena. I get.
And that was a fantastic atmosphere, man.
What? See,
it was a great atmosphere.
Yeah.
It just for me,
dude. They had the Ico Pro thing up there.
Oh, no,
everything.
They kept
I
it.
agree.
They kept it retro.
But it's still.
If I'm using it,
still for me seemed like an indie show. Seeing Triple H do a promo in that small of an arena was
and by the way, seeing DX in that situation and seeing DX just reminds me of how old they are. It's just really embarrassing now. It's just like
when I saw guys like X-Pac and Scott Hall, it was, I don't know, it just felt like.
What's up with the commercial playing too in the middle?
Which one?
That was
Is there the Razor Ramon from?
Oh yeah,
I didn't the Razor Ramon.
Yeah, it to me it's just so weird because that's the same arena where Razor Ramon got beat up by X-Pac, or should I say back in the day 1-2-3 Kid, and it was just so weird seeing them, together, and then. I don't know. It just felt so confused, and it just made me realize almost everything just didn't gel well, and almost everything at the Barclays Center felt so more alive.
Yeah.
While in the Manhattan Center, it's great to see the arena being brought back, of course, and seeing everything being kept retro. And I'm not sure if you noticed one thing, guys, like in the arena, the Manhattan Center. There were no kids there. It was all adults.
Of course.
Yeah, it was all adults.
That's a good point.
I mean, of course, there's going to be all adults there, man.
Yeah.
That's a retro area. That's throwback. You have a lot of old
definitely.
personalities there. I would expect more kids at Barclays Center because that's where the PG stars are.
Yeah, that's the thing. And I thought it was pretty cool. I thought it was pretty cool at the Manhattan Center that they kept it, all adults, because I'm pretty sure none of the kids will probably even know who any of the guys from DX are, or even Razor Ramon or Scott Hall.
Oh yeah, they definitely don't know. They definitely don't know who Razor Ramon is.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, man. X-Pac, they barely know, man. They could go when they're about 5 years later, they can go on Google and find out about X-Pac.
The only thing kids might know about X-Pac is that he has a dog, that little dog he has. You guys ever seen that picture of the little dog he has?
Oh,
he takes her around everywhere.
I think I've seen it before.
His name's like Lulu or something like that.
I would expect something more creative from X-Pac on the dog name, though.
Yeah.
No,
it's
one of those dumb-looking dogs with the tongue sticking out too.
That's every dog.
No,
that's every dog.
Not, my dog does not. No, the tongue is literally out of its mouth all the time.
It's a pit bull?
No. It's not like that. It's like the dog literally his tongue has a deformity and it's sticking out of its mouth.
That's.
But
no, it's
wait
cute.
a minute,
it's cute.
The dog has a deformity.
I'm gonna show you
back to Raw. I think one thing.
Keep us in line.
Yeah, one thing also I did like on the Barclays Center was they brought back the APA office, which was pretty cool because I haven't seen that in a long time.
What was up with the segments though? Like MVP, he was advertised on the show. He was just in a backstage segment.
Yeah, I mean,
Brother Love. I really wanted to see some Brother Love. Salute to the homie Bruce Pritchard. I love Bruce Pritchard. Something to wrestle.
Yeah,
with, but
I mean, the APA office. Yes, to me, it's normal. It's always been kept backstage. The thing that I do agree with you, Ryan, is why would they keep everybody from I guess past legends, all kept.
It's a cute dog, Nick.
I saw it, yeah.
So I'm sorry, man. You're messed up for that.
I said it was a cute dog.
It's a cute dog.
It's got a deformity, man. His eyes all messed up.
He loves his dog. X-Pac loves his dog. And Nick just showed us a picture of X-Pac.
We love dogs here.
We do. So yeah, like back to Ryan, me agreeing with him about the fact that all the Raw legends or anybody who, made an impact on the WWE, most of them were all kept backstage. And that was really weird of them to do that.
Apparently, I heard reports that Jimmy Fallon showing up late to the show really messed things up for the creative writing staff too.
Big time Jimmy Fallon
and then,
show up on time.
Really?
And then also the Enzo Amore situation.
Oh
man,
it's all over. It's all over.
Let's keep talking about Raw 25 before we get to that. That's obviously huge news, but we don't want to just switch topics that quick.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's finish up. Let's finish up on what we want to talk about with Raw first. Enzo Amore. It's not one of the triple threat topics of the day.
I gotta go.
We're definitely gonna talk about.
I got a song too.
Yeah. Oh, you got a song too?
You got a song? You gonna rap about it?
The Enzo Amore. That's Amore. Yeah. That's an idiot.
Where is this coming from? I've never heard him sing this song before. It's amazing. Okay. I'll say this too. I didn't like the fact that they gave away who was going to be there in the beginning too. Like the Raws and SmackDowns before Raw 25.
How they advertise them?
They advertised literally everybody that was going to be there. So when I think it was the first segment or maybe the second segment when Kurt Angle's in his GM's room and all the GMs are coming in, I knew who was going to show up.
Yeah.
Because they had already said all the GMs they were going to show up.
When is The Rock? Where was The Rock?
The Rock's filming movies.
Yeah.
The Rock is not a WWE guy anymore.
They couldn't get him out there for at least two.
No.
For one
but guess
segment.
what? There's a thing called the Royal Rumble this Sunday. You
No.
never know.
The
I'm
Rock.
just saying, you never know.
Okay, The Rock. We've already did The Rock in Philadelphia Royal Rumble. Remember that?
What if he enters the Royal Rumble?
He won't enter the Royal Rumble.
That's
How
because
do you know that?
That's because they would want to actually announce it so you could actually get people subscribing to the network to
people are
see it.
subscribing to the network.
Here's the thing.
No, they're not.
For the Royal Rumble?
Here's the thing.
Yes,
the
they
reason why The Rock showed
For
up.
free, yeah.
The thing is with
Still
The Rock
subscribing.
when he showed up at the Royal Rumble, the thing was that they had to send him out there because Roman was getting booed, and people hated the fact that Roman was going to win the Royal Rumble. So they had to send in The Rock to, try to calm the fans down, to try to shed some light that Rock, hey, I'm here. How's it going, guys? And I'm guessing sort of save Roman from, trying to lead the building, alive from a bunch of
Apparently, they jumped
fans.
in a car that night.
Yeah.
They jumped in a
Avoid
car?
the fans.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw. Okay, obviously, it's a wrestling podcast, but the Eagles are going to the Super Bowl. We did see videos of Eagles fans kind of acting like degenerates.
I love
So
it.
imagine that when they're actually mad about something, how they act.
It's going to be a great atmosphere in Philadelphia
will
because it's the week before the Super Bowl. Every fan is jacked up for the Philadelphia Eagles. Not that they have a chance, but every fan is jacked up for the Philadelphia Eagles. So it's like, at the end of the day, I think the atmosphere is going to be great. But getting back to Monday Night Raw, finishing that topic, some positives. Obviously, Stone Cold Steve Austin. The man still got it.
That was awesome.
The man is still got it.
That whole segment was awesome to start Raw.
And you know what?
Stone Cold. Raw is Stone Cold, okay?
They probably knew that the most people watching would be at the beginning of the show. So I knew as soon as Vince McMahon was talking, I told my mom, I was like, Stone Cold Steve Austin's coming out.
Show up.
He's showing up in 3, 2, 1, and the music
I
came.
thought it was
shattered.
going to be him or DX. One of those two was going to come out there to interrupt Vince.
No, it was going to have to be Stone Cold because Stone Cold and Vince McMahon and the McMahon family had the most history. I mean, going all the way back to the Raw Homecoming in 2005 when he stunned every single McMahon in like a 20-minute segment. That's one I remember.
I thought that even Austin admitted that Shane McMahon, he knows how to take the stunner. Out of everybody that he's stunned, he says that Shane McMahon is the only guy who knows how to take.
No, The Rock is number. The Rock is number
well,
one.
The
Rock is
yes,
a mean stunner, man.
He oversells it. Okay, that's the thing. He oversells it, but Shane, he just does it just a more comedic way. Like I'm not sure if you saw Unforgiven 2000 where Austin stunned Shane, and then Shane spit out the beer.
Yeah,
As
he
soon
did
as,
the
like,
same thing.
3
on
times.
Monday Night.
Hey, he
That
did the
was
same thing
awesome.
again. Yeah, which is cool.
He did the same thing
Yeah.
on Monday Night. Shane McMahon is fantastic.
No,
at
he knows how to
selling,
do
man.
it.
Shane McMahon's great.
You know.
And then what else? What else?
Oh,
after-
Lita did not get
Lita
invited.
didn't show up.
Well,
I
she
mean,
didn't get invited. That's the thing. Yeah.
Is there bad blood between her and the WWE?
There has to be. The fact that they
I'm
didn't
not sure.
bring her back for Raw, there has to be.
Was it because of her, getting pulled off the pre-shows and all that? And I heard she also was a talent. She also did agent booking for some of the women's matches, and she kind of struggled with that. So, but that's still not a reason not to invite one of your top female personalities during both the Attitude Era and the Ruthless Aggression Era to one of your biggest shows. That doesn't make any sense to me. But let's talk about Tori Wilson. Tori Wilson looked fantastic. Okay, all right. She looked amazing.
A lot of those divas look really good.
Yeah.
On Raw. Most of them.
Just
did.
Tori just felt like she hasn't left. If you ask
Terry?
me.
I said most of them.
Okay.
Well, Terry Reynolds.
The
I
reason
mean,
I didn't say all of them.
well, Terry Reynolds has been out of the game for quite a while, so it was great to see Jacqueline and also Terry Reynolds back.
Totally.
To me that brought back some good memories.
It's all about saluting the people in the past who's made Raw and really kept the WWE alive when they were getting their butts kicked against Nitro.
What about Sable? I mean, she was a big.
That was something that I have
was
not
a huge
heard a lot of
You know
people
what's
talk
funny
about.
though? Was she really a Raw diva? To be honest,
Yes,
though?
she was.
She seemed like she was more of a SmackDown diva.
Oh, she
from
was.
back in the day.
Well, SmackDown after she came back. So when she came back originally.
Good point. Yeah.
Yeah, but before then she was. I'm sorry, Eric.
Yeah.
Before then she was there. I don't know. I just randomly hit your paper.
No worries, man.
But
Ryan just decided to assault Eric in the studio.
Yeah, I'm assaulting him in the studio.
Damn you.
With the steel chair. But she was more of a Raw diva beforehand because there was no SmackDown.
No, it was just Raw as War, and when she was married to Mark Merrow, geez, I mean, so many.
Mark Merrow.
Yeah, so many guys.
Oh Lord Jesus.
So many guys, all came to see Sable, and if anything, every time whenever she walked out, she had a huge pop. A huge crowd just blew up as soon as she made her entrance. And even there were signs that said, "I came here. I paid to see Sable. I'm here to see Sable."
So you're saying she should have been there then? That's what you're trying to get at?
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely, man.
definitely.
Yeah, she deserves it.
She's in a weird kind of situation where she's with Brock too.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like if Brock doesn't necessarily want her to be there, then she's not going to be there. It's one of those things.
Brock
Well,
Lesnar.
you also have to take in the fact that they got kids too.
Yeah.
So do all those divas. Brie Bella has kids.
Brie Bella has
a
one kid.
A kid.
One kid. Okay, she has
Undertaker
one
has kids,
child.
doesn't he? With Michelle McCool, she was there.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, but
I'm pretty sure they're
high
That's a
price
moot
baby
point. That
seat.
point doesn't matter. I
But
don't
they
care.
live
You can't show up in New York
in
one.
Toronto.
You can't bring your kids to New York one day just to show up on Raw for the 25th anniversary.
I mean, I don't. You
Just
know
put
what?
them
That's
in-
a good point, but
just
you
put-
don't know. You don't know the reason behind it. You
Just
know?
put them in attendance. That's it.
But we do know that Lita wasn't even invited. That's different.
Oh,
Yeah,
Sable
Lita.
was probably invited.
That's just bad blood right there.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. And then Edge not being there too, because Raw had announced a long time ago about the 25th
What did
anniversary.
they say? There was
said
a reason Edge couldn't be
Edge
there.
had prior commitments.
I mean, if you're filming a movie, though, it's a little different. You
I
can't
don't-
really
I don't
show
know
up.
if
I
he's
think that's why
filming
The
a
Rock
movie.
wasn't there either.
I don't know, man. I mean, I think a lot of the times the WWE holds bad blood against, pun intended, against people who do these podcasts who kind of speak freely about the WWE. Who are
I get
former
what you're
wrestlers.
saying, yeah.
Like Stone Cold has had heat allegedly.
Vince Russo.
Are you
Vince
saying
Russo.
Edge has heat because it was probably because Christian was there? So I
Well,
don't
Christian
know,
was there, but his segment
The
was
peep show.
awful.
but he
Yeah.
still was there.
Besides
so,
Jason Jordan though was
Oh,
Jason Jordan's
man,
turned
that was
into that
sad.
great heel. He's turning
Yeah.
into his storyline father with the whole delusional heel thing.
Oh,
He
yeah.
doesn't know he's a heel yet, but he really is a heel.
Dude, Booker T rips apart Jason Jordan. Have you seen? Have you
know.
heard of it?
I know, because he doesn't have any personality, except now. Now. Now he's showing that personality. Now he's showing
Right.
the personality.
Little
It's
by
like
little,
his personality sucks, but it's now working for him.
You know what he needs to, for the rest of his time here, he needs to, or at least with this storyline with Seth Rollins, he needs to act like a spoiled brat, to be honest. because that will get him the most heat.
Yeah.
If he just totally acts like, hey, I'm getting all this stuff because I have this storyline that I'm Kurt Angle's son, he should just act like that and he'll get heat. Just like Roman Reigns should have turned heel a long time ago. Around WrestleMania time last year.
Do we really want to have the Roman Reigns debate right now?
No, we're not gonna have the Roman.
No.
We're gonna have it eventually.
What I'm saying though
Later.
is that Jason Jordan has an opportunity to become a heel right now because the crowd hates him. So why not become that heel and start acting like the spoiled brat that everyone kind of thinks he is? In a way, in the WWE.
Isn't he already that? With his dad getting him into title matches, him winning a title with Seth Rollins.
But he's trying to act like this nice guy, and he should just, WWE should recognize it and be like, okay, when these guys start getting major heat,
they do recognize it.
And they're supposed to be a face, they should, they should just turn the guy heel.
Nick, everything is scripted now, so they do recognize it. They do recognize the crowd, and guess what? They're doing just like they did with Kurt Angle. They're letting him come out, be that delusional heel who thinks he's a good guy, who thinks he's all honorable, when really the crowd sees behind it and sees underneath it. And one day, he's going to turn heel, and he's going to blame everybody, and it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be fantastic when he goes full-on Savage mode.
Do you think he's championship material, Ryan?
Like heavyweight championship material, I think he has all the tools for it from a physical standpoint and a wrestling standpoint. But I need to see more from his personality, and this heel turn he's having, this slow burn heel turn is fantastic. And I'm seeing enough of it to say, okay, he can play his father. And I hope they address that in the storyline where he's pretty much becoming like what his father was earlier in his career.
Yeah, I think we can see that, because Kurt Angle was that, typical nice guy, and we all knew, like, he's got all the tools for Kurt Angle back in 2000, but, as far as turning into Savage mode, which we all knew what he was capable of, and then he got over with the fans in 2001, and then in 2002 with the whole "You Suck" chants. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, the "You Suck" chants were they were fun.
Yeah,
and they are still fun.
Thanks to Edge. He's the one who brought that up.
Thank you, Edge. Salute to Edge, man. But even though that was a SmackDown moment, by the way, I hope they treat SmackDown's 1,000th anniversary next year the same way they treat Raw's. Or this year. Yeah, this year's. I hope they treat it the same way they treat Raw. I know they won't, but I mean, I love SmackDown. SmackDown is my brand.
It was a blockbuster.
I'll give you a take on The Rock. I think is going to show up to SmackDown 1000. I think that's why they didn't need him on Raw.
Yeah,
I think he was always more of a little bit late, especially later. He was kind of SmackDown's face. I mean, they literally named the show
because he did. It's like SmackDown Hotel, Know Your Role Boulevard, all that. So
exactly. So
it could be.
I think that maybe they were like, okay, well, if he can't make it to Raw, if he has prior commitments, then we'll make sure he shows up at SmackDown in, I believe it's gonna be November or something like that.
October.
Okay,
yeah.
October.
Yeah.
So he'll show up at that, but that was kind of his show anyways, especially later in his career. And I think if they can that will obviously get people to draw and watch that SmackDown too. SmackDown's always been the secondary show. So even if SmackDown 1000 is not going to be as good as Raw 1000, but you can get The Rock there, that's what people will. That's how you get your viewers.
I remember when they were still taping the show with The Rock. And a few years ago, and I made sure my Friday night was clear just so I could watch the live, live version, the first air version of SmackDown that night. Yeah. I did not want to record it. I wanted to see The Rock. It was, so at the end of the day, The Rock is a draw, and I do believe, hopefully he will be at the SmackDown 1000th anniversary, but it would have been great to see him at least make a video appearance.
Via satellite.
for Raw 25.
He's probably like in the background of Jumanji. He's like, The Rock is right here in the Jumanji set, but he wishes he would have been at the Barclays Center or the Manhattan Center. He would have been say something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, not having The Rock. I mean, it just makes me frustrated because I feel like we're void of those superstars. When you get those pops like Austin, I mean.
Great pop, by the way, when he came out.
Yeah, we don't have that. We don't have that that anymore. But you know what? Let's talk a little bit about the Royal Rumble this week because I thought they did a disservice, like I said earlier, with this show and leading up to the Royal Rumble. Obviously, people aren't going to watch SmackDown the next day because the SmackDown superstars were advertised for that show, and you barely saw him. By the way, there was no Randy Orton, even though he was advertised, and his wife went on Instagram and just laid everybody out.
Was he advertised?
his face is on the picture. And I guess he was sort of advertised, but then his wife was
wasn't
like, he said he wasn't invited. No, his wife said he wasn't invited, but you did see a picture of him on the official Raw 25
most of the SmackDown
poster.
Superstars obviously didn't have
a segment.
big roles.
Yeah.
AJ Styles had an interview. The Usos, I remember, were involved in the APA stuff. So I didn't really expect Randy Orton as far as in a big role, but obviously he wasn't on the show.
And he was a huge part of Raw, too.
Well, they also went way over time, too. I think they went to almost like 11:15 that night.
Well,
normally
11:30.
It wasn't 11:30.
All right.
No, it was like 11:15 because I remember my brother and I, they went to commercial after the 3-hour mark. And we're like, what? Is this show like 4 hours or something? Does The Rock come out later?
Yeah,
it's like I didn't know. I didn't really know what was going on. So I think they ran out of time in those small little segments, maybe with other people. Like guys like Randy Orton, they were just like, okay, you just cut from the show.
Well, I think he was cut before the show even started. That was the problem. Because his wife went on Instagram and said, why are they saying that my husband is going to be there when he is not going to be there? He was not invited to the show, which is odd because Randy Orton was a big part of Raw.
Oh, yeah, definitely with Evolution, how he started off with Ric Flair, Triple H, and Batista.
Oh, where was Batista? I was hoping Batista would be there, too.
Again, the Royal Rumble is this Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay.
These guys that we didn't see.
Royal Rumble,
okay.
Maybe.
So let's talk about Royal Rumble this week. Because...
Well, real quick before we transition to the Royal Rumble, each of us also has a segment on this show, and it's going to be kind of a way to break the segments apart, the triple threat topics. So, Eric, it's going to be your segment right now. Eric, what do you want to call your segment? And you can kind of explain what you're going to be doing with your segment.
Well, I don't know the name right now, but I kind of want to dive into what's happening in the independent circuit and also the international circuit, AAA, Japan, TNA, Ring of Honor, or even the up and coming season of Lucha Underground.
Japan as well.
Yeah. So which we're pretty much excited about. Lucha Underground. Awesome, But
for those of you who have El Rey Network, unfortunately I don't.
I do.
Or just wait for it to come on Netflix.
Yeah,
Netflix.
I'm waiting for Netflix.
But I'll give you an update of what's been happening on Impact Wrestling, or if they want to call themselves TNA or Global Force.
They're
I don't
TNA.
know. Yeah, they're TNA.
We'll always remember them as TNA.
Okay, so Matt's
yeah, TNA.
Yeah.
TNA.
Yeah.
Matt Seidel, who is known as Evan Bourne from the WWE, will be facing off EC3 for the Grand Championship match at Genesis tonight.
Is that the Grand Championship? Is that like the equivalent of the WWE Championship for TNA, or no? I don't really know what's going on.
I think ever since they did that change with Global Force, I think you can call it the Universal title.
I'm just saying, is that the top title?
It's the top title.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
isn't EC3 though done with the company though?
No, he's still with them.
Yeah, he's done with the company.
Their contracts are up like around WrestleMania.
Yeah, he's done with the company. Like apparently he was seen around the Performance Center.
Oh.
Yeah,
I heard it was either going to be. Wow. I heard a writer way back. I think he was in the summer. He said that it was either going to be EC3 or Kenny Omega was going to be in WWE.
Kenny Omega's not coming to WWE right now.
Not now. Yeah.
Bobby Lashley too.
Yeah.
Bobby Lashley wasn't that the name. Yeah, you're right.
Right.
Bobby Lashley. There's still some value in a Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar match.
Absolutely.
And there's some guys from Lucha Underground who are also making their way to the Performance Center. Well, they're in the Performance Center right now, and it happens to be Prince Puma. Or should I say Ricochet?
I love me some Prince Puma.
Yeah, Ricochet
that guy
is in WWE, right?
Yeah, that's him.
The problem with Prince Puma is I feel like he's more of a 205 Live guy. I don't feel like he's a main roster guy.
There's an opening in 205.
That's the part. Okay, here's the thing that I'm a little bit.
Thank you, Enzo.
I'm a little bit scared because.
Soft.
Yeah. Here's the thing I'm a little bit scared of for Prince Puma or Ricochet or whatever name he's gonna go by. I feel like if he's gonna go down to 205, he's gonna get like a lot of praise from fans.
I love how you say down to 205 Live.
Yeah,
like it's a downgrade.
It is a downgrade.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
I hate to say it. I mean, like 205. They got some good, great, cruiserweights, and I think that the cruiserweight division would have been. A little bit improved. Sure, Enzo would have, he did give some sort of flavor to the show. It kind of made you want to hate that character that he has, that annoying character that he exposed.
I don't know if it's his character or his personality
or his,
in real life.
Yeah,
it's exactly.
Yeah.
You know, it could be mixed up. You know, looking at what happened to him. But yeah, for Ricochet, he's. I'm pretty sure he's gonna like. Maybe they're probably gonna keep him, and they're probably going to like elevate him as much. But the problem is that I think they're probably gonna like squander him like little by little, and then probably people are gonna forget about him, and then he's probably going to like. Go back to the independent circuit.
That guy is so talented.
He is talented. Yeah, I love the guy. Yeah,
and they will.
Yeah,
they will.
I just like
they cannot.
I just want the WWE.
Come on, man.
I just want the WWE.
How many people? Yeah. I'm sorry, Eric. How many people do we say, "Oh, they can't waste his talent," and they waste it, or we can't waste her talent, Asuka, and we waste her talent?
They're not wasting Asuka's talent.
Dude, she's not as big as she was in NXT.
Well, you're not really supposed to be. Like
Nakamura.
When you're coming from NXT, you're not supposed to just jump in and be the top guy.
Even though I think Nakamura will win the Royal Rumble this week, but that's for later. Okay.
Yeah, but for Ricochet, I'm just hoping that they don't waste his talent like they're doing with the cruiserweights. Yeah, I'm just afraid of him because the treatment that he got in Lucha Underground, it was awesome. He got over with the fans. He was a top player in the company with them, along with guys like Pentagon Dark, and also with guys like
Zero Miedo.
Freaking Mil Muertes. Those guys. Those are the top players in Lucha Underground right now. So yeah, I just to WWE, I just hope you guys don't squander his talent. And for AAA, there will be an event called Guerra de Titans, also known as War of the Titans. They're going to be having Johnny Mundo to take on Dr. Wagner Jr. for the Mega Championship match. So, and also not only he's going to be there, but guys like Vampiro, Tejano Jr., La Parca, Drago, Aerostar, and many more will be at the event. So it's going to be most of them from AAA, or should I say Lucha Underground, are going to be in this event.
They seem to mix up well with those two.
It's a Mexican promotion. So yeah, obviously them and Lucha Underground work really well together.
Oh yeah, no Alberto El Patron this year at AAA.
I don't know, man. Apparently he wants to come back to WWE.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I don't know what's going on, man.
Yeah, El Patron, or should I say Del Rio, he apologized to Triple H. He actually gave out like he wanted to give like an apology to Triple H about his behavior.
And then he blamed Paige.
Yeah, he
did.
He blamed Paige?
He did,
I mean, I don't know. This whole story with him, with Paige and Alberto Del Rio, man, it's just a disaster.
Everything Paige does is a disaster.
If we would have, let's just say this. In March, if we had this podcast last year in March, this podcast would have been lit. Okay, let's just say that. And this podcast would have been lit. Okay, I'm not gonna say anything else other than that. I don't want to get sued. All right.
Look, she's probably gonna sue you, dude.
It would have been called the Ring General's Porncast. In March.
Yeah. I mean, it's so sad to a Paige too, because I thought she was such a great performer. But, like, the way I could just see her slowly but surely going down a slippery slope. And it was the same thing I saw with Enzo Amore, too, man. I saw him going down a slippery slope. And
we'll get to
that slope,
exactly.
Man,
yeah, we'll get to all that.
We'll get to that. We'll get to it. I know you want to talk about.
I want to talk about this Royal Rumble. Hurry up, man. Let's get
all right. Last but not least, Tim Storm was defeated by Josephus for the NWA Championship, and this took place on Sunday at an event over at the Impact Zone. Ooh. Yeah, in an empty arena.
The Impact Zone.
Yeah, so
isn't it usually an empty arena when it's not an empty arena?
So
yeah,
it has to be an empty arena match every time.
Yeah, so I don't know what's going on with Impact Wrestling and NWA since Billy Corgan from the Smashing Pumpkins is running it. I don't know what's going on between these two. Like, have they done some sort of partnership? Or
Dixie's not there anymore.
No, she's not there anymore.
Yeah, she's not there with TNA. So that's probably why Billy Corgan's like, all right, let's do business.
Oh yeah, like Billy, him running the show. This isn't his first rodeo. He's been with ECW. He's been attending the events for WWE and WCW for so many years. He's been a fan. So him like running NWA, the old organization back in the day. That's a big responsibility.
I heard him talk on Joe Rogan's podcast.
I did, yeah.
About how he's like invested in the wrestling business. He still wants to be involved. He's not giving up on the TNA stuff. Like he bought NWA just to be involved in wrestling, essentially, because TNA kind of been weird with him. And
That's
also,
a dream
there's
come true, you know.
I would, if you are a Billy Corgan fan and you're a fan of, you want to know what's going on with him and TNA, listen to that podcast with Joe Rogan. I think it's in the very beginning, so the rest of the podcast you don't necessarily need to listen to.
Dude, I'm like a fan of both things.
No,
you know, with
exactly. And
Billy
so
Corgan.
if you listen to that, he explains this BS contract they gave him with TNA.
Yeah.
He got completely screwed by them too. So I think Dixie Carter leaving, I think he wants to buy TNA, but I think he's a very good promoter, although he's been a rocker for most of his life. He's a good promoter. I would be happy with him with these big companies.
They're still doing it, though. They're still giving out crappy contracts. They're taking now a piece of merchandise sales, allegedly. Allegedly, they're taking out also, like, your appearance fees. They're taking out some of that. I mean, they're really interrupting how these guys live. So I think it's better for these guys to just go out on the independents, like Cody, Kenny Omega, everybody in the Bullet Club, and just go out on the independents and do shows every weekend. Make a lot of money. Go to New Japan Pro Wrestling. Go to Noah, right? There's Noah in Japan, right? You know, there's so many promotions out here where you can go to, and they won't mess with your money. They want you here.
Jeez, Cody has reinvented himself. You know, him going with this American Nightmare, you know, that name that he's going by, he's definitely making waves, and
I'm very proud of Cody.
He's awesome, and he got his wife involved too.
I'm very proud of Cody.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm very proud of him because he was unhappy in the product. He was unhappy in the storyline and the position he was in at the company with WWE. And instead of just staying there and being stagnant and just taking the money, he left and took a risk. And now because of that risk, he's getting rewarded over and over, and I think he's going to be more of a star when it comes time for him to renegotiate with WWE. So that was going to help him make more money. You know,
I saw like a T-shirt of the American Nightmare at Hot Topic the other day. I was surprised. Like, wait a minute, is this real? Like,
let's talk about that.
That's Eric's favorite store, by the way, Hot Topic.
Hot
Topic.
I just went in there.
As long as it's not H&M, I'm cool, Eric.
Right.
But
like,
like,
I haven't been to that place in a while. Right.
Wait, hold on. Actually, Ryan, what's wrong with H&M?
Oh yeah, the coolest monkey in the room.
Yeah.
You didn't see that?
No, I didn't. Okay.
What
so
in the world is
now
wrong with you? What in the world is wrong with you, man? I'll catch you up later, man. But look, at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, WWE right now, I mean, if New Japan Pro Wrestling could just do their job and maybe get that one or two superstars, if they can get CM Punk, I've told you this, and Daniel Bryan, if they can get those two superstars and then start doing television in the United States on a network, then they could be a WCW.
Yeah.
Will that happen? Probably not. I think they'll get Daniel Bryan. I think they're getting Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, Daniel Bryan does not seem very happy with it.
He does not seem very happy, and he's honest, too.
Right. It looks like he's like the merge of like maybe leaving and CM Punk. Yeah, I don't think he's gonna come back. He said it himself.
He's coming back. He's done with MMA.
I think he might be coming back sooner than later.
He's gonna
be honest.
He's probably gonna get bored, you know. And you know, as much as you can say, "Hey, man, I've saved up all this money," when you start thinking about kids and other things, man, that money starts running out sooner.
You gotta talk to AJ Lee about that.
You know, he wants to have kids with her. Apparently, they want to have kids eventually, sooner rather than later.
She's real in depth now.
So look, you know, at the end of the day, I do think we're getting a CM Punk return. I do not think it's WWE. I think he can make a return to New Japan Pro Wrestling.
I think he'd be appreciated over there a little more too.
Yeah.
More creative freedom, obviously. You see with Cody.
I could see him do something like that, but with Vince, like working a deal with Vince and Triple H, that's gonna take a long time to.
Unless Triple H gives him Triple H at WrestleMania and he goes over. That's the closest thing to CM.
I think most people have to go over Triple H now.
Yeah.
I don't think he needs to win most matches.
I think that was the frustrating thing for CM Punk the last time because he was white hot at the time and Triple H came and beat him in a random match on a pay-per-view that really didn't matter. It just didn't make any sense, you know. But let's talk about the Royal Rumble this week.
Yes,
I can tell you somebody
Eric, real quick, thank you for your segment. That's Eric's unnamed segment that he'll come up with a name with as we move this podcast along. But Eric's gonna every single week. Or however many weeks we do this podcast.
I just call it the indie segment, I guess.
The indie segment. But Eric's gonna give the news on pretty much anything besides WWE.
What's been happening?
Segment.
I want to give credit to where like the independent circuits, you know what they're doing, you know.
Which we probably won't talk about that much on this show.
Right.
So,
well, this is where some of your future WWE superstars are
Yeah,
coming
so
from,
you don't
too.
know when they're going to
So-
be popping in, on your screen. So, be on the lookout.
absolutely. All right, Royal Rumble time.
CM Punk will not be there.
Royal Rumble
Okay.
time.
For all of you who are trolling and saying CM Punk it will be there. You're
Ryan,
lying.
do you work for WWE?
I can.
So
I
you
can,
don't know 100% if he's not.
CM
if
Punk
he's
will
gonna
not be there.
Okay.
But Carmella will be there, right?
Carmella will be there, and
You should have seen Ryan's face.
she is. Oh my goodness! Like, I love me some
That
Carmella.
was a great reaction from Ryan. That couldn't have been more perfect.
I love me some Carmella, man.
Ryan loves him some Tori Wilson. He loves himself some Carmella. Who else? Who else are your crushes in WWE?
Kelly
What?
Kelly?
What?
just wanna
My
know.
crushes in
Yeah,
WWE?
yeah, exactly.
I'm feeling Sonya Deville.
Sonya Deville.
Sonya
You know she's
Deville.
lesbian, right?
Hey, man.
You didn't know that.
It
You
don't
didn't know
matter. Look, she's a cutie, man. I just say she's cute, man. I just see the face and the personality. She seems cool. Mandy Rose is a cutie.
Mandy Rose.
Liv Morgan, Enzo Amore. Once again, what are you thinking, bro? Liv Morgan, okay? All right. Now I hear Tyler Bate is like shooting his shot on social media. So
Shooting his shot.
yeah,
Wow.
So salute
That's
to
an underlying reference.
yeah,
That you
yeah.
need to explain on
yeah.
this podcast.
So salute to Tyler Bate for shooting his
For
shot.
shooting his shot on
Yeah,
Liv
man.
Morgan.
Alexa Bliss is there too.
Alexa Bliss is hot.
Alexa
Yeah.
Bliss is gorgeous. She has a really cool personality too.
Awesome. Yeah.
Most improved wrestler from last year,
Yeah.
2017. I thought she got over with the fans.
She's
really
doing
well done.
nothing though on Raw. When's her last title defense?
Well, it
I
doesn't
don't
matter.
know.
The Royal Rumble's coming up, so the women with the titles, her and Charlotte, kind of have nothing to do right now because they're not going to put 2 women's titles matches on the Royal Rumble card. So they kind of,
Right.
I don't really care much that they're not doing anything because the Royal Rumble is such a big thing that I think they don't really.
It's
need
just
it.
so
The women's Royal
they're
Rumble,
just so
they don't need
focused
them.
on the 2
Exactly.
matches, the women's Royal Rumble and the man's Royal Rumble.
Can I talk about this women's World
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's
go
do
ahead.
it. Yeah, let's
Let
do
me
it.
talk about
this
this
is
thing,
now
man.
this is now your segment,
Let me
right?
talk
Yeah,
about
you know what?
this.
Let's transition. Is it? Are you going to rant about this?
Let's
yeah,
do it. Let's do it.
I got multiple
so here we
things
go.
to rant
Second
about.
segment of out of the 3 of us. This is Ryan rants right
Look,
here.
this is just all about the Royal Rumble, man. I know you want equality, and I want equality too, and I appreciate equality too. But the problem is, if it's garbage, just like the man, we're gonna criticize you. Just like the men, okay? You deserve to get criticized just like the men, just like you deserve to have the opportunity just like the men, okay? So, on Sunday, if it's a complete disaster, then you'll go down in history as the first Royal Rumble being a complete disaster. Just like the first Hell in a Cell with Sasha Banks and Charlotte was a disaster. I'm sorry. It was not very good. It was 10 minutes of them fighting outside. There was no fighting inside the cell, and then the ending was botched. Okay? So you tell me if this matchup is going to be good or not. This history depends on this matchup. This first Royal Rumble, history is going to depend what people view it as for the rest of the time being. Okay? And is this a ploy for Ronda Rousey? Probably. Let's be honest, okay? Ronda Rousey signed a deal with the WWE. The biggest match you can do is Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte. That's the biggest match you can do right now, okay? Unless it's Ronda Rousey versus Asuka, but they don't want Asuka losing early, right? You don't want her losing her stuff early.
She's undefeated.
Yeah,
that's why.
Asuka's undefeated. So you have Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte. So at the end of the day, I don't think this Women's Royal Rumble is as good as we're hyping it up to be. But at the end of the day, I'm still going to watch because I love train wrecks. You know, I love a good train wreck, you know? So, I mean, if it's a train wreck, if it's entertaining television, I'm going to watch. Now, if it's good, I will come out here and I will applaud these ladies for a good Royal Rumble match. But right now, I'm not looking forward to it because pretty much everybody's pointing to 3 people: Nia Jax, Asuka, or Ronda Rousey. That's all there is to it. Who's the other 16 women you gonna find? Where you gonna find these women off the street? It just doesn't make any sense to me, like what you're doing with this Women's Royal Rumble. And the way it was announced was garbage. Eric over here is still laughing. Everybody knows why. But like, look, at the end of the day, like, you have these ladies go out of character for this announcement of the Women's Royal Rumble. Then you have Stephanie McMahon be completely lame about it and say and use that opposing general manager's
Can I interrupt
chant.
you really quick? Stephanie McMahon sucks with announcements. She has to be the worst person. All right, go on.
She's awful. Okay, and then at the end of the day, you have them all chanting yes. You have the women all crying and hugging each other when they're supposed to be fighting each other. Okay, what I would have liked, here's how I would have booked it, okay? This is the RKJ Man's booking, okay?
So you got
If you ran Raw.
So he got a segment inside a segment.
Okay,
This is
all right.
amazing.
Hold on.
If you ran Raw, that's why.
Okay, here's what I would do. I would have there be complete and total chaos. I'm talking about all the women on the Raw roster fighting with one another.
After
you need
the
to have,
announcement?
Yeah, no, before the announcement. You have Stephanie McMahon and Kurt Angle come out, break it up, have security, and they say this is too crazy. And then the next night on SmackDown, you also have the same chaos. And so you have to have the general managers and everybody getting together and saying, hey man, there's too much chaos going on. We need a Royal Rumble to settle this thing. We need a Royal Rumble to settle this thing. These women are all aggressive. They're all frustrated. They all want a chance at the title. And also, there's an underlying factor here. If I'm on SmackDown, can I cross over to Raw and win a title? Can I do that?
It used to be able to
It
do
used
that.
to be able to do that. So does the same apply for the women?
Well, I'll tell you this. For the women, I think so too. Last year when Randy won the title, they did acknowledge that he picked the WWE Championship.
Really?
They did actually acknowledge that he decided. So that still goes in WWE, as far as I know, that the guy gets to pick. Not necessarily like an announcement in the ring like they used to do, which I thought was really cool. They'd have the three guys standing there, especially when they had the ECW title.
Salute to
back in the day,
Batista.
too.
That was also a great Raw moment.
Well, I believe, didn't The Undertaker have one too? He was choosing.
Oh, yeah, he did.
He had to choose. So I remember that one.
That would have been the
specifically.
perfect time to pull the John Cena one.
Was John Cena the title holder
Yes,
then,
he was
though?
the WWE champion. He looked right in the face.
Interesting. Well, okay, so that I still think applies. So obviously that would apply for both Royal Rumbles too, and I think you could see maybe an Asuka. Now, see, if you're a Raw superstar or a SmackDown superstar, I'd go after Alexa Bliss, right? She's the easier opponent.
Right.
Why would anybody want to go after Charlotte?
Yeah, but
You know?
Alexa Bliss is a smart heel. So you have to think
That's true.
she's the smartest heel on either roster. So what she could do is she can bring Nia Jax, or even you can have a situation where she paid Ronda Rousey all this money to enforce her at WrestleMania.
Well, you can't really
that would be a great.
That's good too.
You can't really touch her since she has freaking
Hey,
Braun
WWE, can you
Strowman.
sign me, please?
No, you can't really touch her because she has Braun Strowman by her side. So that's another one.
That's
right
mixed
there.
match challenge though. That's completely.
not,
That's like a different universe. That's like Marvel and DC.
I know.
Like,
It's just I like to have that. Put that. Braun Strowman be a part of it. I don't want.
So
to
that was most of that was Ryan Rant's.
Wait a minute,
segment.
Enzo Amore.
Oh yeah,
too.
there you go. Oh,
Enzo, what's going on, bro?
Oh, okay, here we go.
Why?
Go.
Why put yourself in that situation? I know all the allegations are just that.
Explain
allegations,
real quick
right?
exactly what you're talking about.
So unfortunately, Enzo Amore was, first of all, he was suspended? He was suspended at first, okay? And then the day after Monday Night Raw 25, he was released because apparently, according to sources, he did not inform the WWE about the rape allegations. And just that, allegations, okay? He's innocent until proven guilty in our nation, okay? But there are allegations by a certain woman that he allegedly sexually assaulted her. And that is something that is very serious, and that should be taken very seriously. And if Enzo is innocent, I hope he does everything to prove his innocence. If not, he should be sentenced to the fullest extent of the law. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, if I have an employer who I know has a lot of attorneys, a lot of lawyers, and I already know I'm on a short lease with my employer, I would go to my employer immediately and let them know. And apparently, according to sources, he did not let the WWE know about that situation. So that, in my opinion, is what I'm frustrated with Enzo Amore is about. Where I'm frustrated with Enzo Amore. Because if you let the WWE know what's going on, they can either A, help you, B, give you the time off and find a way to cool it, or C, they're going to do whatever. I mean, maybe they take the title off you, possibly, but they can't suspend you yet if you've let them know. But there was probably a morality clause in his contract. Maybe it was a damned if I do, damned if I don't. Maybe he had a morality clause that said, hey, look, if we get even the hinkling of this, we're just going to fire you, regardless of whether you come to us or not. But at the end of the day, it's just better to come to people. And he put himself in this situation. When you put yourself out there on social media, when you're him, and you're in that spotlight, you have to be careful. We've all made mistakes with women, but I haven't made the mistake where, at the end of the day, it's been a situation where I put myself in a situation where it's bad, okay?
Yeah.
And we can't be putting in a situation where it's bad, okay? All I'm saying is this: be mindful of where you are, be mindful of what you do. I've had to learn this lesson. We've all had to learn this lesson in this situation. All had to learn this situation. Learn this lesson when it comes to women. So just be careful, okay? And Enzo, you should have told the WWE, but if you're innocent, I hope you find your innocence, okay? I hope you find the evidence and you're proven innocent. If he's guilty, he should be sentenced to the fullest extent of the law.
There you go. That was Ryan Rants. You got a little Enzo Amore heat on there. And
do you think
also, he pissed off every single WWE diva that possibly listens to this podcast?
No. It's not an it's an embarrassment if there's a botch. Like, everybody's gonna remember the first.
True. There are usually
everybody remembers their first, okay? Yeah. Everybody remembers their first. You remember your first kiss, you remember your first tooth.
Keep going.
I'm not gonna talk about that first. I know what your first you're trying to get into. You're not gonna bait me into that first. I know what you're trying to bait me into. But look, at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, like, if there's a botch, if there's a mistake, then they're gonna be criticized, and they rightfully so should be criticized, because this is what they wanted, this is what they asked for, this is what all of us wanted, or most of us wanted, and we're calling for, and I'm okay with equality, but let's be fair with our equality, and let's give them the same criticism that we do the men every year if the men mess up, or if the Royal Rumble with the men is unsatisfactory.
There's going to be a lot of eyes in this Royal Rumble, so
and I forgot the women's Money in the Bank ladder match that was blown twice, pretty much. Although I thought the second was better than the first one.
Well, I think they got so many they got so much of a bad reaction from the crowd and Twitter after that first one, that because of the way it was won and how a woman actually didn't take the actual briefcase off the latch. It was James Ellsworth. I think they decided they needed to do something about it, and they decided to have it on SmackDown.
By the way, for all of you saying that maybe James Ellsworth could possibly win the Royal Rumble or make an impact for Carmella, stop it, all right? You're crazy. I want you to put the bottle down. I want you to put the bottle down and check yourself in the rehab.
That is not crazy. I think that could happen.
Right.
That's not that to say. Maybe it's crazy to say that Ellsworth wins the men's. That's a little crazy. But to say he's going to get involved in the women's and help Carmella win it, and then Carmella has literally 2 shots at winning the championship, I think that's easily plausible.
Like Santina winning the women's match at WrestleMania. The Battle Royal?
Don't remind
us. Like that garbage?
He or she, whatever the hell he was back then.
Hey, wait a minute.
Did she get a title shot? I don't even know what to say.
Wait a minute.
Where are my gender pronouns?
Wait a minute. Do you remember at a time when the WWE for Raw and SmackDown, they had like a lot of battle royals with all these women? I'm not sure if you guys remember.
Yeah, but those...
But here's the thing.
Those were really, honestly, those were terrible.
Yes.
And they were under the second rope and underneath the rope.
Yes, they were terrible. But don't you think that they would have had the Royal Rumble, Women's Royal Rumble, at that time?
No.
Because
there wasn't
all sucked too.
There wasn't an emphasis on women's wrestling.
But how come there were so many battle royals with all these women at WrestleMania?
Because it just got them all on the card.
Exactly. Number one, it got them all on the card, and it got and then number two, it was a way like when they'd have these like summertime
bikini,
these bikini ones. It was just for us to watch hot girls like battle each other in the stupid battle royal. Like it was just.
Well, they don't do that anymore.
I wish they'd still do that.
Yeah.
You're not going to see that. You're not going to see that, man. I'm sorry.
Women's wrestlers. My bad. I keep saying the wrong thing.
They got a show called Total Divas.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Which, by the way,
they're divas still.
I found out something very interesting.
I'm not changing my opinion.
I found out something very interesting about Maurice that last night
pregnant?
that could have fit. Well, obviously that, but her due date. Guess what her due date is? First of all, let me ask you a question. When is WrestleMania?
March,
April something.
It's April 8th. Okay, you should know that. But
why should
it's okay? You should always know that.
Okay, WrestleMania will always be aimed at March or April. All right.
Okay, so when's her due date? April 6th. Now, her due date is April 6th. Hold on. The Miz is scheduled to be in a major storyline according to reports for WrestleMania, and he just won the Intercontinental Championship. You can't have your Intercontinental Champion not showing up at WrestleMania if it's a major match.
Well, he'll just have to miss his daughter being born.
Just do
No,
Skype.
If
Just
you're
do
getting
Skype.
paid millions of dollars, you can't just not show up because
No, man, that's your firstborn
You
child.
tell me if a guy's in the
Just-
world. You guys tell me if a guy's in the Super Bowl, the World Series, he's missing the World Series, the Super Bowl to see his kid be born. I don't think so.
It's happened.
No, it hasn't.
It's happened.
Give me an example.
I can't give you an example.
Because it didn't happen.
I can't
It-
give you
it's
an
gonna-
example.
it-
Look, let me explain something, okay?
It's a little different when it's the top thing.
Yeah.
When you're talking about sports,
The Super
if you're
Bowl,
in the NBA
World
Finals,
Cup,
the Stanley
you know.
Cup, you're not missing those.
Well-
Your job is too important to miss that.
Your job
that game.
provides for the
It
wife
doesn't
and the
matter.
child. But look,
just have another kid.
Even if it's the World Series, all
that's
right?
messed
Just
up,
have
man.
another kid.
I can't wait till you have your first kid,
just
man.
have another
I
kid.
can't wait till you have your first
Hey,
kid.
I'm
you
not
got
set in
something
stone
for
that
it.
I'm even having kids. So
And
this is why my
and this
Okay, look.
podcast blows up, and then we got a thing on the due date, and I was like, it doesn't matter.
Okay,
have another
so-
kid,
Guess
Nick.
what? If we have a podcast and somehow we get Roman Reigns on this podcast or
Okay,
something like that,
okay.
I'm interviewing Roman
Okay,
Reigns.
okay. How about this? Have Miz, put him on the first, the first match of the card, and then after he's done, either he wins or loses, rushes
What
over
if
to
the
the
kid's
hospital.
being born at the beginning of the show?
Oh crap!
Yeah,
No,
like,
this is well. You brought up an interesting point, though. I'm glad you brought this up. Although
can
this has
do-
nothing to do with the Royal Rumble.
it does have everything to do with the Royal Rumble because it changes. There's plans, and I feel
You
like
saying the Miz is win the Royal Rumble?
I'm saying, look, he deserves it. He deserves to win the Royal Rumble. He's deserved it. What is that music? Anyway, he deserves it,
Yeah, what the
and
hell
he's
is
earned it. He's entertaining.
We're gonna
like,
edit this out.
And let me just be honest. Let me just say this, okay? That win against Roman Reigns,
It's big.
it felt really good. It felt really
That,
good
by
to
the way,
see.
that was another. That was real quick. That was another good moment of.
Yeah,
fun.
that's
like
highlight right there.
just the way he does it, and I think that stare down with him and Daniel Bryan, that was fantastic. I'm liking the Miz's theme song music too more and more.
Oh, I listened to it on the way over here in the car.
I came to play.
Yeah.
Okay, so but back to the Royal Rumble. So you expect Miz to have this big storyline, right?
Yes.
Let's dive into the Royal Rumble before we dive into the Universal title and all that other stuff. Let's dive into the actual Royal Rumble. Let's each go here. Let's pick 3 possible people we think are going to win the men's.
Each?
First, we're each going to come up with 3.
That's
Yes.
really hard, man.
No, it's not. It's not hard. It doesn't
Okay.
have to be serious and like it's just off the top of your head. I don't want this to be, oh, I've thought about this. I've written this down. I want it off the top of your head right now. Ryan, you can start. Who do you think is winning the Royal Rumble? Give me 3
Nakamura.
people. Okay.
Nakamura is my top choice. Second choice would be Randy Orton.
Okay.
And I got to go with somebody from Raw, so give me Elias.
Okay. Interesting. Eric, how about you?
Is Finn Balor in the Royal Rumble? Is he?
Yes.
Okay, yes. He's my first choice. I think Finn Balor is going to win.
He ain't over
Two-
enough.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
I
He
disagree
might
with that,
he might
but-
surprise us. Second,
His
the
smile is over.
second may be I think probably Cena. You know, he
Okay,
might be.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, who knows? He might pull out like an upset victory. And in the third choice, I'm gonna have to go with. Man, who's a good choice out there? I'm gonna have to go with Randy again.
Randy again?
Yeah, Randy again.
Okay, and see,
yeah.
that's some interesting picks. My 3 would be, I agree with you, Nakamura. I think that AJ Styles Nakamura match is looming possibly at WrestleMania to happen. Obviously, if you did pick the SmackDown title, I think Roman Reigns is
Oh,
it possible.
God.
And
Oh, boy.
I'll tell you this.
Jesus.
I told you this yesterday. We were eating lunch
Yeah.
about this. I have a storyline that I
Y'all
think
eating
is
lunch
going to happen.
together?
Well, I mean, you were at work.
Oh,
You couldn't
yeah.
hear me.
I work like
We
12
were
hours.
we were hungry.
Yeah, we were hungry, so we just ate, Ryan. We can
I'm
go eat
hungry.
with each other if we want to.
I'm hungry right now, man.
Need some breakfast.
So, and my third guy is I just had it in my head. Like I just totally blanked.
Well,
Who it was.
you know what I was thinking? I was thinking if Sami Zayn because we probably agree that Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are going to lose. One of them has to enter the Royal Rumble, right?
Yeah.
You have to. So
Could.
I would
I'm
say
gonna go.
Kevin
but
Owens.
here's
Throwing
my third.
Kevin.
My third is Finn Balor as well. That's
Finn
who
Balor.
I was thinking that he's rightfully has a match for the Universal title eventually in the future. So I think this might be the time. Especially
Okay.
since they're up in they're stable with the
Some pretty interesting choices right there.
Luke Gallows and Franz. And,
Yeah, it looks like slowly he wants to build again I guess he wants to bring the Bullet Club, slowly form the Bullet Club, Finn Balor,
The Balor Club.
or Balor Club, I guess,
So
They were-
after hearing each other's opinions, we think there's a lot of different stuff that's going to happen on this Royal Rumble. It's one of those ones where we actually really don't know who's going to win.
It's weird too because nobody's excited for it, but really you should be because it's one of the most open Royal Rumbles ever. I just think the build up has been bad, but I think when Sunday comes around, I think people are going to be like, "Oh, that's the Royal Rumble," and then they're going to be like, "Oh shoot, Super Bowl's not until next week. I'm just going to catch the Royal Rumble."
Well, that's why they do the Royal Rumble on that weekend. They do it every year because they know there's no football, so it's the only thing to watch Sunday. You're not going to watch the stupid Pro Bowl.
Yeah, and then also it's going to be in Philadelphia. The crowd's going to be turned up.
Yeah.
It's already turned up in Philadelphia. And then you add on the fact that the Eagles are going to be arriving in Minnesota that day. People are just going to be just jacked up and turned up.
It's the perfect scenario WWE got.
And it's the worst scenario for Roman Reigns. It is the worst scenario.
It's the same building where he got booed.
Like I said,
you can't have him win the Royal Rumble.
I think he can win.
If he wins the Royal Rumble, you better be prepared for an all-out riot, pretty much.
I'll explain to you why I think he can win real quick.
He can't win again, Nick, but go ahead.
I know, because I believe that I remember you were telling me early in the year that WWE wants to do a Roman Reigns Brock Lesnar main event at WrestleMania,
and it's still advertised and still scheduled. That's why they took him off. They took the title off of him.
This is why. What do you mean they took the title off of him?
They took the IC title off of him in order to get him ready for that.
Okay, that goes into my point. So The Miz winning was the first element into this plan. I believe they're having a triple threat match at WrestleMania. I think they're going to add Braun Strowman into the match too. And I think that also creates you have a tweener in Brock, you have a face in Braun for that match, and you have a heel in Roman Reigns for that match. A triple threat is better than Brock versus Roman because that would be very expected and a lot like WrestleMania 32 where Reigns ended up beating Triple H and everyone knew it, and that's where they booed him out of the building for that main event. I do think that either Strowman wins the title this Sunday or Brock wins and Braun doesn't get pinned, okay, which could easily happen. You could see Brock beat Kane. And then I think Roman wins Roman wins the Royal Rumble. I'm just saying this could happen. Roman wins the Royal Rumble. Braun Strowman eventually beats Brock for the strap at the next pay-per-view, so there has to be a rematch for Brock. Roman has the match at WrestleMania. That creates a triple threat match. I think that could happen.
I think what we're going to be getting is Braun Strowman versus Triple H because that was teased at the Survivor Series.
When was it teased?
It was you don't remember? It was teased at Survivor Series, man. It's teased at Survivor Series.
Yeah.
He said if you ever screw me over or something like that, and Triple H was actually getting
if that were to happen,
bullied.
If that were to happen, then I hope Braun destroys Triple H.
Oh yeah,
that's in my opinion.
He's going to. He's going to. And then you've got to have now. I think. Now, allegedly, there was rumors going around that a SmackDown superstar will win it because there's a Raw pay-per-view, the Elimination Chamber. So
that's Raw this year?
Yes. So if Raw, has the Elimination Chamber, you have to think that would be the number one contenders match for whoever goes on to WrestleMania.
True, but SmackDown won the Royal Rumble and had the same match, so I don't think that's necessary.
Well, that was for the WWE title, though.
Well, no, but
that was for the title.
Randy won the Rumble, though.
Yeah, but Randy wasn't on that card pretty much. He came out at the end because Bray Wyatt had won the title.
He faced Luke Harper.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my bad.
No, what I'm saying, though, I think you're misunderstanding me. What I'm saying, though, is you're saying that SmackDown Superstar has to win because Raw's the Elimination Chamber. SmackDown won last year, and they had the Elimination Chamber, so I don't think that matters much.
It doesn't, but I'm just saying, just look out for that. I mean, they have to find an alternate way to get Roman Reigns in this match besides him winning the Royal Rumble. Because if he wins the Royal Rumble, he'll get booed out of the building. Last year, he came out at number 30, got booed out of the building. Undertaker got booed out of the building. So, I mean, you can't have him come out at a good number this year and win the Royal Rumble in Philadelphia where he won it originally. They have to remember the first time he had Rocky raising his hand. He had The Rock. Everybody loves The Rock.
You know what I think?
And they were booing both of them.
Great one.
Well, Philly doesn't give a crap either. Yeah. But I think you have you have Reigns maybe come out at 3. Right? And then because then the crowd's like, oh my gosh, who's going to come up? And it's Roman, and they can just
people
boo
just
the hell
booed.
out of him.
Yeah. There were so many reactions after that.
Exactly. WWE knows that the fans hate him, obviously, now because of what they did after WrestleMania. They let him go out there and just get booed and cussed at by those fans.
Which might have been the best segment in 2017, by the way.
Might have been. But I agree. So now that you bring up the fact that Raw has the Elimination Chamber, that might be the way Roman doesn't win the Royal Rumble then. I still think that triple threat match eventually happens at WrestleMania, but I think that now that clears the way for Roman not to win it. So maybe I'll have to come up with a third superstar You changed my mind on that. I don't think he's going to win now.
Yeah,
He'll just win the Elimination Chamber.
He'll win the Elimination Chamber. Yeah. And so let's talk about this main event match between AJ Styles and Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. First of all,
or Cammy.
AJ Styles is calling him Cammy. I have no clue why. It makes no sense. And then also,
it's Kami. His name.
Oh,
is
Sammy. That's clearly somebody
Sammy
in creative.
Yeah.
That's somebody.
Oh yeah, it's stupid as hell.
Yeah, and I can see Vince laughing at that. And then also, we have them in the Yup movement. The Yup movement.
I think that's stupid too.
It's very dumb. I think this is EG. AJ Styles is winning. I think it's telegraphed. I think this provides no threat. I think SmackDown is just being absolutely totally just tossed aside. Like,
well, that may mean because they're going to have this giant main event at WrestleMania with him and Nakamura.
Okay,
so
what
they don't have to do stuff.
What does Randy Orton do? Where's Randy Orton in this equation?
Why does Randy Orton have to be in the title?
Probably taking some time off.
I like Randy too.
Randy needs to be in some type of high profile match. I mean, it's WrestleMania.
I've heard that he's going to take time off after this Royal Rumble too. So I don't think
he's always had like shoulder injuries, so that's why he needs.
He always gets time off because that's in his contract. He gets to work a limited schedule because that's in his contract now. He's earned that right.
Absolutely.
He's getting up there in age. He's about 37 years old now.
Jeez.
I mean,
that's not that because Cena and Styles and Lesnar are around that age.
Yeah, but Styles wants to retire in 2 years though. We don't know what
Who said that.
He said it. He said he wants to retire at 42.
Styles? Really?
When did he say that? When he was in TNA?
No, he said that in WWE. He said that. Okay. So, like, we don't have too much time left. If you want to see your dream matches, man, you better hurry up with AJ Styles. So we better get Nakamura and AJ Styles and Kenny Omega. Just put your pride down. Come on over to the WWE. Join the Bullet Club. Okay, maybe spend like 5 months in NXT and come up to the main roster so we can get AJ Styles and Kenny Omega before he retires. Maybe that could be AJ Styles' retirement.
Ever notice, however, whenever they bring in somebody from Japan or TNA or Ring of Honor or wherever on NXT, they get a big reaction and they go over and there's more passion and there's more,
No, I agree with that.
More build up in NXT.
Because NXT is more of like an independent type crowd.
That's true. I also think WWE fans or the WWE universe.
Yeah, they want to call us.
Yeah. Well, hold on. Let me just say
or the galaxy.
I think they're so, and this is our entire generation too. They want new. They want new.
Yeah.
They want better. So to have new superstars come in, I think that creates that level of like, oh, we like you. You're really dope. And then when they start doing normal stuff, people don't follow them as much because they want the new guy again. And that's why I think a lot of these guys come up to WWE and aren't super over. Because I think the fans are kind of sick of them from NXT.
Like Raw and SmackDown?
Yeah. Well, I just... Like, Bobby Roode is clearly not as over as he was in NXT.
Right, with
correct?
The glorious,
Nakamura is not as over as he was. I think that's because people go, okay, well, now that they're up the main roster, let's get the next guy from NXT up, and then let's sign the next guy. And
that was on WWE. Nakamura should be a special attraction.
Always on WWE though.
That's on WWE because Nakamura, he's not good with English. Okay, he's a special attraction. He's a special attraction. He should have been the Undertaker of SmackDown. You know how the Undertaker was only on SmackDown for special appearances? It was something special. They wouldn't announce it. It just meant something when he was there. And it should be like that with Nakamura, or else he would have still had that buzz. But I think at the time, SmackDown didn't have enough star power. It was just a disaster. The way they've just completely and totally ruins the SmackDown brand from this time last year, to this year in 2018, it's just been a complete disaster.
Do you remember that time when Dolph Ziggler dressed up as the Undertaker? Everybody was like all getting hyped up.
Oh, I
when
thought
the music was coming.
And I've heard allegedly people are saying Dolph Ziggler can come back and win the Royal Rumble.
He could
be, yeah.
Okay, so let's transition to this too. You expect AJ Styles obviously to win the SmackDown. Not much to talk about with that match as far as we just think that AJ Styles will win.
No, and that's bad when it's a Royal Rumble match, 2-on-1 handicap, and we think the guy who has the disadvantage
what if the other guy
wins. They become cold WWE champions. That's another reason
I can't see cold WWE champions.
I can't either.
That's just lame. That's something you do with the Intercontinental U.S. title, not with your main title.
Let's jump back real quick into the Royal Rumble as well, the men's. Who do we think are surprise guys that aren't advertised so far? Who do we think is a surprise entrant?
Ziggler for sure.
Do you think Ziggler's going to be for sure?
Ziggler's for sure. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Batista.
I think Batista.
I think Batista's going to be there on Sunday. Yeah. I'm just going to go out on a limb. I'll take the flack. I'll take the flack if he's not there. But I think Batista, because he's been talking about it, he says he wants to come back. He's feeling that itch again. Maybe we'll see Alberto Del Rio.
Could possibly, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't have said that before until he said the stuff he was talking about.
I mean, you're just gonna have to separate him and Paige, but I mean,
yeah. Well,
Paige's not gonna be there.
Paige is, yeah, she's got that injury that she had. Well, you said that. I don't know. Watching that footage when Paige got injured, it felt like just a regular kick in the back.
That was a really
but look at Ryan Shazier for the Steelers. They just look like a normal tackle.
Yeah,
and the guy can barely walk.
But at the same time, we gotta also look at it like we can't see pain, we can only feel it. So she's probably had problems, from the back of her neck or her upper back. So for her to go out like that, it's just sad,
Yeah, it is sad. Kind of like Bailey.
You're not a hugger. You're not a
hugger for life, man.
Yeah, I probably should have mentioned this earlier.
You're just like Corey Graves do, where Corey doesn't like Bailey.
I don't know what happened with that storyline with him and Bailey, but I just think the Bailey character is done. I just think she's done.
Watch, she's gonna win the Royal Rumble.
The Women's Royal Rumble.
Yeah,
you think so?
Watch. Just because you said that, she's winning now.
Oh my goodness gracious!
No, okay. So Zell, we think Batista and
Del Rio.
And Dolph Ziggler. Oh, I guess we said Del Rio too. So we got Dolph Ziggler, Del Rio, Batista possible. How much percent Rock or CM Punk entering the Royal Rumble?
1%.
1%.
I'm gonna go 5. I'll give it a little more. I think there is a chance that one of those guys. Because how big? I almost just said the F word. How big would that be if at number 30 one of those two guys came out?
Oh, the roof would come off.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So why not freaking do it?
But The Rock is too busy, and CM Punk.
You don't know about CM Punk.
CM Punk has said so many bad things about the WWE. He has a lawsuit against them. If he comes out at the Royal Rumble, I feel like people are going to be excited, but then we're going to question how legitimate he is. About his feelings, and they're going to call him a hypocrite.
That's Vince's problem.
For Punk right now, I think he's too busy training with Duke Rufus, because I know Dana White.
Is he actually going to fight again in the UFC?
He says he's done fighting. I heard sources say he's done. He hasn't come out and said he's done fighting.
Well, Dana, he's willing to give him another chance. It's just I don't think Dana liked the fact that when he went up against Mickey Gall, he just, I don't know, I guess Dana wasn't too thrilled about the fact.
He shouldn't have given a guy like Mickey Gall in the first place.
I think eventually.
Unfair.
I think eventually they were building up for a CM Punk Conor McGregor fight or something. I mean,
that's way too advanced.
Okay, how about this?
Fantastic.
Real quick. How about CM Punk versus Floyd Mayweather? Floyd Mayweather's first ever fight. Right? Yeah, that would work. Floyd Mayweather has some skills in fighting, so you'd be able to do it.
Right.
CM Punk had some skills in fighting. So obviously Punk's probably been training a little more, but you get Mayweather the similar amount of training, and there's your fight. There's your UFC fight right there.
Right.
But so we don't really think those two guys are showing up then?
No.
Okay. So yeah, I can't think of anybody else really that off the top of my head. Oh, Chris Jericho. Anybody think Jericho's coming back? I think he could show up.
He's always an interest.
I don't think he's gonna win.
That's the thing.
He'll show up. He deserves to win. He's
Jericho,
never won it.
Here's the thing. Jericho
never.
Well, remember wasn't he supposed to have a WWE Championship match last year? And then Goldberg got it instead?
They scrapped it.
Goldberg brought it in the big match.
With Jericho, he'll probably be in the Rumble. But here's the thing. That guy lasts, I don't know, maybe about an hour into the Rumble. And then, once, we're, in the Final Four with the Final Three, Jericho somehow is still in the Rumble. And I'm like, what? Jericho's still in the Rumble? He's, playing possum throughout the entire,
Roman Reigns the entire Royal Rumble. Sat in the corner.
Yeah.
No, Jericho, he's, the epitome of playing possum in the Rumble.
Yeah.
That's why he lasts so long. That's why he's the last 3 or 4, or 2.
Yeah.
So interesting. So we think those guys could come back. We think like we said, we could see Nakamura, we could see Cena, Orton, Finn Balor, Roman Reigns possibly winning this Royal Rumble as well. You said Elias as well too.
Yeah.
So hey, it's open book.
And Lesnar's winning the triple threat, right?
Yeah.
What's up?
Lesnar's winning the triple threat.
I can see Strowman winning the match. I don't think that's definitive.
Well,
no.
There could be
Strowman is so hot right now.
They had Strowman lose 1-on-1 to Lesnar. They could have
easily. I know. Why can't he just beat Kane?
Why can't he just beat Kane?
Yeah,
because Kane's not really that credible in 2018.
Maybe.
But what I'm saying though is, if Braun beats Kane, he still wins the WWE title.
Yeah, Brock, he could beat Kane. He won't, he'll probably just push Braun out of the way, and then like he'll quickly attack on Kane.
Also, that would open up for Lesnar to be in the Elimination Chamber too. I think that could happen. That would be awesome.
For Lesnar in an Elimination Chamber would be epic.
Throw in
it would be fantastic.
That would be awesome.
Throw in that freaking animal in that chamber.
You'd probably throw someone through the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah,
that would be fantastic. Like the commercials you could do, the trailers you could do with Brock Lesnar, the Beast Uncaged. That would be fantastic.
Advertising right there. Jeez, we're already doing advertising for it.
But so hey, as far as this pay-per-view is kind of an open book. Besides obviously that WWE Championship match. And obviously the mid-card matches and mid-card matches, they're not going to mean much.
There's really no mid-card matches because you got two Rumble.
You got 2 out of 3 tag team matches. Mm-hmm. You got 2 tag team matches, which I'm excited about.
Give me Gable and Benjamin just because of the Usos and the whole drinking situation, the DUI situation.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they have to. They're probably gonna put the strats back on them later before WrestleMania.
And then the Raw one, the Raw tag team, you got Rollins and Jordan versus The Bar.
I love the Bar's entrance, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
They've got the coolest entrance.
I just love the Bar, period.
I just love the way they come out.
I love the Bar in every sense of the word bar. Like, I like going to the bar. I like the bar tag team. Mm-hmm. I like, a climbing monkey bars. I like everything about bars.
It's fantastic. Like, I love everything about the bar and their entrance.
I like dropping bars. I like everything.
Oh, you like to drop bars?
Candy bars.
Oh, you drop some bars right now.
No, that's not. No.
Oh, okay.
Dropping bars right
now.
All right. I'm white.
Like what Enzo?
Right, you ever heard of Eminem? Logic?
Not even that good.
Like what Enzo Amore did back at the what was it when he was dropping bars? Enzo Amore with that.
I was gonna make a terrible joke just now, but I won't say it.
No,
he was dropping bars in the hotel room. That's why he got fired. Okay.
Oh my goodness. Allegedly, Nick. Say allegedly. Allegedly.
Correct.
Okay.
Allegedly.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Okay.
So
allegedly.
Any other matches that we need to get on? Oh, the women's. We didn't even predict the women's. So obviously there's a huge amount of surprises. We're gonna
my bad. Yeah, because there's 16 spots open in the.
16? No, I think there's only like 12. Because I think I counted 18 last time I saw the advertisement for the Royal Rumble.
Don't look at that advertisement, man. They had Randy Orton advertise for Raw 25 in the picture, and he wasn't there.
When they go,
don't look at that stuff.
When they do the promotion for the matches on Raw or SmackDown, they go, here's the women's one. They change the song and whatever, and then they show the 18 women in.
By the way, the song choices for WWE and their promo packages have been terrible. By the way, the Fall Out Boy song at Raw 25, that was awful. My mom was looking at that. My mom was like, they could have picked a better song than that.
They made no sense whatsoever whenever they were choosing their songs for the 25th anniversary. It just was so out of place. Like even the video package was like so.
And you leak it, and people still talk crap, and then you have time to fix it, and you still put that out.
It wasn't that bad.
Oh yeah, people were bashing it.
It's just out of place,
dude. The problem with every WWE fan out there on Twitter using their Twitter fingers and all this stuff, they never say anything positive about WWE.
Here's the thing.
So their credibility for me is thrown out the door. Anybody on Twitter that likes to talk shit on Twitter, I
don't even go on Twitter like that to like.
No, but it's super annoying because it's always negative. Even if something is.
No, it's not.
No, the problem
I've seen
is
a lot of fan pages, a lot of people who love these superstars.
But the problem is, it's either complete crap, or the pay-per-view was unbelievable, best of all time. It's like Why can't something be?
Bro, have you seen WrestleMania 17?
That's a pretty good WrestleMania, right? I gotta admit.
Come on, man.
That was an awesome WrestleMania.
Yeah, I do agree with you on that.
But that doesn't mean everything sucks if it's not WrestleMania 17.
Yeah, but WrestleMania 17 is the bar. Like it is the bar.
See, we went back to the bar.
Yeah.
Okay, but back to the women's. Yeah. We need to get back on topic. The women's. Who do we think's winning?
Well, it's the first ever one.
There might be an upset where Alexa is gonna get herself involved, and she's probably gonna help out Nia Jax win it. So
see, that's a good.
There might be some sort of like upset. Her interference that might happen, but if anything, and I'm sorry, Ryan, I think probably Sasha Banks might win.
So Alexa Bliss is like the female 2018 version of Edge, the ultimate opportunist gimmick. She's going to do whatever that gives her the best opportunity. So I don't think helping Nia Jax is going to be her best opportunity. I think she'll lose. But I do think it's going to be obvious. I think the WWE should just go with the obvious here and get Ronda Rousey on a plane to
Fly her
Philadelphia.
to Philadelphia and
Let her do a few spots, win the Royal Rumble, fly her out to wherever she needs to go for her movie, and let's do Charlotte versus Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania. That's a great match.
Ronda Rousey, a SmackDown
superstar. That's a
okay.
great. She's not going to be on SmackDown like that. She's only been on SmackDown twice. But you give notoriety. You give notoriety to a brand that needs it desperately in SmackDown.
So who do you not want to win the Women's Rumble?
That's a better way to do this. Who do we not want to win the Women's Royal Rumble?
Carmella, because she already has the Money in the Bank match, and
she still has the contract.
And I think you have to save it for a big epic moment. WrestleMania could be her moment. I think. Let's see who else. Sasha Banks. And let me tell you why with Sasha Banks. I've grown sour on Sasha Banks in terms of her personality.
But she's
her
cousins with
personality
Snoop Dogg.
It doesn't matter. I mean, everybody's a cousin of
if
Snoop
he doesn't
Dogg,
want her to
honestly.
win, though,
Everybody's Snoop Dogg's cousin. I'm Snoop Dogg's cousin.
You could be related to him.
I'm probably related to Snoop Dogg.
Hell, you could be Snoop Dogg yourself.
I am Snoop Dogg.
Just don't be bringing blunts in here,
No, I'm not doing
fine.
that.
You can bring blunts in here.
No,
Probably bringing blunts in here.
You get in trouble.
Edit that out. Because I don't want the
no, we're not editing out.
No.
I'm sure Matt would be okay with it.
No, I'm not doing it. I don't do that. Okay, all right. Just for any future employer out there. Okay.
Ryan always protecting his ass. No. Okay. So, who do you not want to win? I know you're probably gonna have different.
Well, like I said,
And why? I mean Eric.
There could be
watching on video.
There could be, like I said, an upset with Nia Jax, winning, and that's one person that I kind of don't really want her.
You don't want Nia.
Would that really be an upset if Nia Jax won? Because she is.
No, but he doesn't want her to win.
Okay.
Well, thanks. If it was coming from the help of Alexa Bliss, because I know she's the kind of person who would help out her best friend. And I know that she would probably do something like that. Maybe like her, Sasha, or Bayley would be like the last three. Or also, I know for a fact, Asuka would probably be like at the merge of like she would like throw somebody out. Like she would throw somebody out, but then like probably Alexa will like sneakingly like throw her out, and that would be like an upset, over on the behalf of Nia Jax's and Alexa Bliss's. So yeah, I know Asuka would probably be like the last four or last three, along with Bayley and Sasha and Nia. But yeah, I don't really want Nia, even though I do like Nia, but I don't really want her to win the Rumble.
By the way, I think it's very sad none of us has picked Becky Lynch so far. But go ahead.
To win or to not to win?
To win.
Well, we're picking not to win. That's why.
I don't see her.
We're gonna go back to that real quick and just say one last.
I don't see her. Like see a chance in her winning the Rumble.
I can see it.
Yeah, Becky. I don't know.
In a year.
Let me give
next year.
So I don't want to see Alicia Fox win because she's just not over.
Yeah,
I don't want to see her.
She's the captain, though, Nick. You don't respect the captain?
I could care less.
She's your captain, Nick.
I don't want to see any of the divas in factions win because I don't want to see like some random weird title match where it's like not even a match.
Like Absolution.
Yeah, I don't
want.
Or
the Riot Squad.
I don't want to see any of those 5 divas that could possibly win. Sorry, 5 women. They could possibly win.
5 superstars.
No, okay.
Superstars.
Okay,
They're superstars.
Whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm not trying to be politically correct. And so I don't want to see any. Correct. I don't want to see any of them. We were just talking about smoking blunts.
Absolutely. Forget the police. Wait a minute. You guys talked about that. I didn't say that. Okay. All right. Just so we're clear. Okay.
You mentioned some about it.
I did.
You actually came up with it before the show
started. I did not. Okay.
Now trying to backtrack.
I did not say anything.
Trying to act all good on the podcast.
If you're listening, okay, I did not do that. I did not say that. Okay. Nick is lying, okay? All right, Nick is lying.
So I don't want to see those 6 divas win, right? 6. Oh, guys, screwed up again. And I don't necessarily want to see Bayley win either. I just think she's had a lot of opportunities, and she's just not. I don't like people that aren't good on the mic in WWE either. And
she's not really
so
that good
either. I always, I actually appreciate someone with good mic skills that maybe isn't as good of a wrestler or performer in the ring. Because they can, up a match. They can,
build the match up.
Build a match, promote the match better. So it helps me. But so those are just off the top of my head. Those are kind of ones I don't want to win a lot. So I'm going to be kind of rooting for certain.
That's
women
a lot.
to win. But I don't want any of those women to win. I'll be disappointed if they do.
And then that makes it a point of why do a women's Royal Rumble if there's only a few
but
logical
I also don't
choices?
want like half the men to win either. You know, I don't want to see Kofi Kingston win.
But you still have more choices that you want to win. Actually, I would love for Kofi Kingston to win the Royal Rumble one day.
I hope
he always has a cool spot in the Royal Rumble.
I hope he surprises me. You know, with how they throw him out and then like he somehow gets back into the ring.
Like he
loses.
What is it? He landed. What was that one year? He landed on the barricade.
Yeah.
He found a way to jump from the barricade.
That was the most.
You know what's funny? I've actually kind of been hoping that he botches one of those fights. Just because he always does such a good job. It's like, God, when is he just gonna?
He's creative.
When is he just gonna slip and then he's supposed to win, right? And then he screws it up.
Yeah.
That's
and then they
gonna
gotta
happen
fight
this year. Watch, he's gonna win now since I said that.
like Royal Rumble 2005 with Batista and Cena. They had
The
to
best,
figure it
and
out.
then Vince tears everything in his leg.
Oh yeah.
Jumping into the ring.
We gotta talk about Vince McMahon. He's making his big announcement pretty soon. It's XFL, right?
We say pretty soon. We're recording this on a Wednesday in the morning, so you're supposed
So
to be
Thursday.
Thursday. You're right.
What's going on with you? Oh, I know.
I was smoking once
yeah,
outside
that's
the,
the
I
problem.
was smoking once
Yeah,
outside
that's what
the-
happens. It messes with your memory.
Yeah, Eric just it got to me.
I somehow magically got to him. I don't know.
No, so again, back to who we think's gonna win, because that's who we don't want to win. We don't necessarily think they're not gonna win, but that's who we don't want. Who do we actually? Can we come up with a consensus on who we think's gonna win, or are we not? Because the men's is too hard to pick. I think that's too hard to pick a definitive winner. All three of us. Can we all say that Asuka has a good chance of winning? Can we all say that?
I'm like 70% chance with that. So
You're 70% chance.
Yeah, 70% chance because
See, I think she can win. I think there's a good chance
she has the capabilities. Just
but then you also have that set up for Asuka's going to be in a big match at WrestleMania too, if she wins. And I think that's good for the brand of WrestleMania, that you're really making it okay. The best superstars are in the best matches. And that's why I think Roman Reigns, Strowman, and Lesnar could be in the main event for the men's at WrestleMania. I think Nakamura and AJ Styles could still happen. Well, by the way, those could still happen without those guys winning the Royal Rumble, too. But if you have one of those big guys win the Rumble, both the men and the women, you give it so that, oh, man, Nakamura's in the main event at WrestleMania, one of the main events. Roman Reigns is in the main event, WrestleMania. He's a big superstar. Obviously, a lot of people don't like him, but half the audience does love him. Asuka, if she wins, that's a big superstar. Ronda Rousey, you mentioned. So I kind of am hoping one of those guys wins. I'm hoping it's not necessarily a guy that's not a big draw wins these matches.
I guess, but at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, you want a satisfying ending to your pay-per-view, your top pay-per-views, and Roman Reigns doesn't do it as an ending. So you have to have an ending that fans are at least semi-satisfied with. Fans were semi-satisfied with Randy Orton last year. So I think it has to be somebody like Nakamura, because the fans want to see Nakamura and AJ Styles at the end of the day. And I think that is you give an indie match like a Nakamura and Cena at WrestleMania, and then you give a superstar match like Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. You have something for the kiddies and you have something for the men. That's perfect. That's what WrestleMania is all about. It's a mixed bag.
I'm behind Brock Lesnar.
Exactly.
For sure.
Exactly. Okay, so I think we're done with Royal Rumble, right?
MMA.
We're going to go to my topic. This is my segment.
Oh, okay. We're going to talk about your segment first.
I don't even know if I told you, Ryan, what my segment is supposed to be.
What's it called, first of all?
It's called Nick's Completely Random Non-Wrestling Topic.
That's too long, man. You need to shorten it.
That's the name of it. You got to deal with it, okay?
Okay.
So this segment, by the way, on every single podcast is going to be something that has absolutely nothing to do with wrestling, MMA, or anything else we talk about in the podcast. Okay, completely random. You guys better be ready to answer a question too. Okay, just get ready for this. This is random.
Yeah, I don't want to answer
So
a question.
Today,
better not be math too, because I suck at
January
it.
25th, when we're recording this podcast.
It's like a big piece of spit just hit me.
January 25th, 2018, is National Irish Coffee Day. Today, okay. So simply, I want you guys to name when you go to Starbucks, what do you order for coffee?
I don't like coffee.
I don't care.
I don't like coffee.
Answer the question, Ryan.
I don't like coffee.
So you never drink coffee, ever?
I mean, no, I don't.
So you've never drank coffee in your entire life?
I have drunk coffee in my entire life, unfortunately.
What do you
it's
order?
awful.
What do you order then?
It's terrible.
But what do you order? That's not. I'm asking you a question.
I probably order something with something really sweet where I don't taste the coffee, but I still taste it. the white mocha or something.
Okay.
But I do a white hot chocolate with caramel drizzle, or also a caramel frappuccino cream based. That means there's no coffee in it. Okay.
See,
like
he says, is it caramel or is it caramel?
It's usually caramel. I think it's caramel. Yeah.
Because I say caramel.
I say caramel.
Again, I'm white, so I say things wrong.
I say caramel.
And so
no, you're supposed to say it right.
I'm supposed to
because
say
you're
it right.
white. You're supposed to say it right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, okay. You're supposed to say it right.
I'm just an idiot.
Okay.
But no, I remember I said, what would you order from Starbucks? That counts.
Okay. Well, I don't want anything with coffee.
What you'd order.
I would order a double chocolate chip frappuccino. That's not coffee. And I would put white mocha in it. Okay. With extra whipped cream. Yeah.
Okay. Eric, what about you?
I have to go with white chocolate mocha. That's my order of choice whenever I go down there, and if anything decaf, I think I'll have to go with.
Awesome. I literally order one thing when I go to Starbucks.
What's up?
Caramel frappuccino. Every single time. I don't get anything else.
Wow, you order like the most plainest,
the most
whitest
girl drink ever.
The most white. Well, actually, it's the pumpkin spice latte.
Only when it's
that's
September,
the white girl
October,
drink.
Yeah,
that's the white girl drink.
That's the white girl drink.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I'll have to call myself white girl. I've never had one of those though. Are those good?
They're okay.
Okay,
it's It's
Starbucks
okay.
also have that Shamrock shake. Is that something else?
No, that's McDonald's.
That's McDonald's.
McDonald's.
Oh, that's
Starbucks don't sell
By the way,
shakes. Okay.
If you ever go on a date with Ryan, his first date is at McDonald's, right down the street from his house.
Yeah. We get that
He's laughing 'cause it's not a joke.
1, 2, 3 menu. Okay, we get that crispy chicken sandwich.
Yeah, they don't call him the 1, 2, 3 kid. They call him the 1, 2, 3 menu.
They call me the 1, 2, 3 menu, man.
Ryan goes to McDonald's and goes, "Do you guys have a dollar menu?"
And you guys are making me hungry already.
Let me get
man.
some of that McPick too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can we get a McPick too? Those are me dropping bars for this podcast. That's it. That's all I'm doing. Okay, so that's my segment, guys. That's
awesome.
You're gonna get something random every single time from me. And so
On a wrestling podcast.
we had a small discussion about coffee there. It was good. A little bit of a break.
Coffee, yeah.
All right, so let's move on. The third topic of our triple topics is UFC 220.
220, yeah.
So
Bellator
Eric,
as well.
you? How much of this did you get to catch?
I did watch the Ngannou versus Stipe. I thought it was a pretty good fight.
Oh, I thought it was great.
Yeah, I
Why
thought
they
it was-
call him Mike Tyson?
because
Ngannou?
he did look up to Mike Tyson. That's why he went up for the name for baddest man on the planet, I guess. And I say for Ngannou, when he went up against his match with what was it?
Stipe.
Oh, no, Stipe. But before he went up against Overeem, Overeem, he shocked me. He shocked me when he knocked out Overeem. And so I thought that he was gonna get like an overall, advantage over Stipe. But then, Stipe is, I think, like the better wrestler. So I thought to myself, hey, this is gonna be an even match. So I'm looking forward to this match. So I looked at it and I thought to myself, wow, like Stipe actually surprised me on this one. So he focused on strikes and he did his best to try to keep him on the ground, which is pretty clever from Stipe. Yeah, Ngannou, the problem with him is that he opened himself too much.
Well, his cardio was horrendous.
Yeah, his cardio. That's true.
He looked as
Why
tired.
would your cardio be bad for a
well,
MMA
because he's
fight?
a brand new into like the title picture, and with UFC you go essentially from having 3-round fights to 5-round fights, and that's a huge difference. And you actually saw it in both title matches on the card, both the light heavyweight and the heavyweight. And Ngannou, he's young too. I think it was only his 5th professional fight ever too.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like he's even been in. He didn't go through Strikeforce. He didn't go through Bellator. He didn't go through any of those other
Pride or anything.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
that, yeah.
Pride. He went straight to UFC, and essentially he won most of his fights, and then went to a championship match and got. He didn't get his ass whooped necessarily, I would say, but he got taught a lesson by Stipe Miocic. Stipe continually put his weight on his back and neck
Yeah, I
too,
remember
which
seeing
is a
that, yeah.
huge thing. That tires you out. But Ngannou looked like the most tired UFC fighter I've ever seen in the 5th round.
Yeah.
He could barely throw a punch.
I know.
It was amazing.
Yeah, Stipe was smart on trying to like maybe gas out Ngannou, and he just went at it. And I thought, it was a pretty good fight, pretty good match. They were evenly matched, but I thought, Ngannou, he just looked exhausted, and then just put him on the ground, Stipe, and boom,
Yeah.
Yeah, it just surprised me, and of course, Stipe is still the champion. So
yeah, no, he is.
we'll have yet to see another guy to try to knock him out of the.
Well,
top
with
of the
that
mountain.
win too, he's also defended the heavyweight championship the most in history. 3 times.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
awesome.
Isn't that amazing?
That's fantastic.
So
man.
Lesnar only had it for twice.
Twice, yeah.
Cain Velasquez only had everybody only had it twice. It's
Yeah.
amazing. So Stipe, he's in the conversation for best heavyweight fighter ever.
Yeah.
Now, there's been rumors that he might face Cain Velasquez.
Oh,
Which
that's
would
a
be-
I'll
pretty
be
good
down
match.
for that
Which
fight.
would be huge.
Yeah, Cain Velasquez, he never gasses out, but that would be a good match.
Well,
between
and you have
Velasquez.
kind of like possibly the two best heavyweights ever.
Yeah.
Facing off of each other in a fight.
Yeah.
And Kane's going to come ready, obviously. Stipe already is ready. The guy is a beast. So I think of coming from this Ngannou-Stipe fight, which was so it was promoted very well.
Yeah,
and I
it
was
was.
excited. It's one of the reasons I watched the pay-per-view. Now, if you were to have this heavyweight title match between Kane and Stipe, then again you have like one of the best heavyweight title matches ever.
Yeah, I mean,
know?
like I would be looking forward to it, and if I would have my choice, I'm going to go with Velasquez. On this one.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
really
pretty
know
good.
who I would cheer for necessarily, and I'd have to see where Velasquez was coming from because he hasn't fought in a while. I can't remember the last time he's fought.
Yeah, he did fight back in 200. 200, I
Did he
remember.
fight 200?
Yeah, he did. UFC
Oh, yeah,
200.
he did,
Yeah,
you're
he
right,
did, and he kept his title. And that was the same fight where Mark Hunt and Brock Lesnar went at it. And
So Lesnar was all roided up for the fight.
I
too.
know he looked. He did not look human that day.
Is this allegedly too?
Nah, he got caught.
yeah.
Okay, so this isn't allegedly. This
No,
is confirmed.
he got
okay.
caught.
Yeah, I don't think he just. I think he cared. I think he just wanted to win.
Yeah.
Good for him. Got to kiss Sable after the fight
Yeah, he
too.
did.
Hey,
So-
salute to Brock Lesnar, man. That man can go to WWE and get
Go to
and get
UFC. Yeah, back to back.
$3 million a year, and no problem.
Yeah, Brock. I mean, it looks like he didn't have no problem going to like UFC. He just talked to Dana, and Dana's like, "Yeah, sweet.
Talk to Vince.
Is Vince cool with it? yeah, yeah. I'll talk to him about it.
Exactly. No, it all mattered for Vince. I don't know if we'll ever see a Brock Lesnar UFC fight ever again.
We won't,
You never know. You can't say never.
because he would have to wait out that suspension.
Real quick, better chance.
For
Who
the-
fights in the UFC next? Brock Lesnar
There-
or CM Punk?
CM Punk.
Dude, there
CM
was
Punk?
CM Punk
Dude,
has a
there
better
was-
chance.
Dude, there
Okay.
was like rumors that Brock he actually wanted to fight John Jones because John Jones did put out that match that
That's
challenge
true. Why would
to
you just
Brock
let
Lesnar.
him do steroids and have him fight each other? Both of them.
Just let him
Let
just
John Jones do coke before the fight too. Let him get in a DUI accident and before the fight too. Everything else he did to whip, because he always wins when he does this stuff.
Yeah.
And then have Lesnar get all roided up for the fight, right? And just have this like no contest, no holds barred. Don't even put the cage up there. Just let him fight in the stands too.
I would love it, like Rocky 3.
Exactly.
Rocky 3, yeah.
Rocky
Yeah. I
and
want to see Lesnar clothesline him over the ropes.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see.
yeah, like with Rocky and Hulk Hogan in Rocky 3.
Oh, that was
Fantastic.
yeah, I love that fight, that
Exactly.
match.
So you never know. We might see Brock again. But moving on back to the UFC 220 card. So now we have the lightweight.
Yeah, DC.
Sorry, the light heavyweight title. Daniel Cormier making his return from losing, funny enough, to John Jones.
Apparently, he's being called the Rocky. He's a real life Rocky.
Real life Rocky.
Yeah.
Except he can never beat John Jones. He needs to
Yeah.
beat John Jones to be called the Rocky.
Yeah,
He's
he
never
does.
won.
He
It's the
needs
problem.
that.
Yeah, so the interesting thing coming in this fight was what we were going to see out of Daniel Cormier, right? Because he was coming off this devastating loss, got knocked the
Right.
hell out by John Jones.
Yeah,
cried
when
after the
John
fight.
Jones was on freaking
Wait a minute,
juice.
the man cried after the
Cried
fight?
after
He
the
did,
fight, but he
yeah.
also was majorly concussed. Too,
Yeah,
so let's
Lord.
give him
and Joe Rogan interviewed him, and Joe he regrets that
Right,
he had
good
to
point.
interview
Yeah.
DC, and he made a vow to himself that he would never ever interview somebody who lost, and he even admitted,
via knockout,
via knockout,
not just because they lose, but
Yeah.
via knockout.
via knockout. So
But
He's gonna be not doing a lot of interviews. He's not going to be doing a lot of interviews.
So Cormier comes off of this fight. He's facing Volkan Ozdemir
Yeah.
in this fight, a relatively new guy to the title picture.
Right.
Young dude, real good striker and all that stuff. But Daniel Cormier dominated him.
he
And beat him in
did.
the second round.
He was smart. yeah.
Was it? It was knockout, right? The fight was the final was knockout.
Yeah,
correct?
knockout.
Yeah.
DC did his
For some
best.
reason, I don't remember.
He did his best to put him on the ground, of course, with his wrestling techniques. DC was really smart on it. Volkan looks like he tried to, find a spot for DC, to knock him out, but I know that DC was smarter than what Volkan was about to do. So DC put him on the ground, wrestled him, and tried to choke him out, as much as he could.
Yeah.
And I think that's like what every fighter's mentality, supposed to have in their in their brain. They gotta just find a way to gas him out and put him down and choke him out, or either like if I could have like a open spot, boom, knock him out.
Exactly.
Punch him.
No, and that's what he did. And what's funny is, so Cormier looked really good in this fight. Obviously, we didn't know what we were going to see from him because of all that happened. He wins the title. He earns the title again. Right?
Yeah.
Because John Jones is suspended, so he's not the title. You strip a guy of the title, then you don't have to feel bad about that. You go, okay, that guy does not deserve the title, even though he beat me. He's not in the company anymore. Well, still with the company technically, but he's suspended for like 2 or 3 years now.
Yeah.
2-3 years?
Yeah, that's what the suspension is. Now, there's been rumors that like his results didn't come back like definitively either, so that the suspension could possibly get reversed. I don't necessarily see that happening, but you never know.
Sounds like fake news.
I think Cormier, a little bit of a conspiracy theory there with that stuff. Yeah, you're correct. But I think Cormier, in order to really get his own mind right, and in order to get the fans kind of total respect for him, he does need to beat John Jones.
Yeah, that's the only way.
And
he's
he does say,
the
I
only
think
guy.
he said in the post-fight press conference that he'll probably retire at 40, and I think he's 38.
Yeah, he's
now.
38 right now, so he's got a couple years
Jones
left.
Has got 2 years to come back to try to see if he can win.
With John Jones, because it's becoming more of a childish behavior of him, getting tested and then testing positive, then coming back to fight, and then later on he gets tested, then he does it again.
Always so hyped
I know.
when he shows up too. It's always, and he always wins.
Yeah,
he
and
never loses.
I remember
it's like terrible because he's like that.
Is he the
bad
Barry
guy.
Bonds of UFC? He's the Barry Bonds of UFC.
Yeah.
Oh, probably.
I mean,
Exactly.
the last
Barry
fight
Bonds.
the last fight that he had with John Jones, I mean, he had so many viewers. Even The Rock was there. The Rock was there.
Yeah, it's true.
It was in Anaheim.
Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah, Dwayne The Rock Johnson was there.
Wait a minute, they had an event down there.
Yeah.
They have events down there all the time.
Yeah, they always have
Ryan,
events.
Ryan, should I say where you live or no?
Don't,
Okay.
no, don't
Yeah.
tell people where I live.
And the Rock, The Rock, he was rooting for John Jones. So that's the only thing that hinders, I think, maybe DC's career, is that just he can beat anybody he wants, in the lightweight division, but just that one guy who is always clouding him will always be John Jones.
And how good is John Jones? So Daniel Cormier puts on an absolute masterclass performance against Ozdemir. Great opponent too. And DC kills him, and John Jones kills DC. This is how good John Jones is. Okay, John Jones is probably the best UFC fighter ever. He just has never been able to stay clean. And it's so frustrating as fans.
Yeah.
Right. See, it's like it'd be like the equivalent of a wrestler getting hurt all the time, and always, this guy, he's so over. A little bit like Daniel Bryan, to be honest.
Yeah.
A guy like Daniel Bryan who ends up getting hurt and never can wrestle again when he was in the prime of his career, essentially.
That's because they overworked.
The prime of him being the most over ever.
That's a good analogy, Nick.
Yeah.
Because they overworked guys like Daniel Bryan and CM Punk, and like with these tight schedules. So that's why. But back to John Jones, I mean, that guy, he is a killer in the octagon. That's for sure. It's just sad that I don't think we're gonna get to see a fight with DC or John Jones.
Maybe not again.
Clean.
Here's the fight that we might see though, and I heard Dana White say this on I think that they have that post game show on Fox Sports 1, or post fight show. Excuse me. Dana White said he might want to see Daniel Cormier versus Stipe Miocic. A little light heavyweight action.
Well, like a little
like
crossover?
a double title fight or whatever.
That'd be interesting.
Exactly. It'd be interesting because they both have similar styles too.
Yeah.
And Stipe, kind of besides Cain Velasquez, who we talked about, there isn't really another opponent that's as good as a Daniel Cormier would be,
right,
or a Cain Velasquez would be. So I think those are the only two fights that would need to happen, because I think Cormier, as far as the light heavyweight division goes, there's not many people that you could considerably say would beat him.
Looks like there's been more crossovers with these ever since with Mayweather McGregor, that
and even
promotion.
McGregor and Diaz too kind of started it initially, because Diaz was a heavier weight, and McGregor did not put the title on the line.
That was a huge draw.
It still would be if they had a third fight too.
Yeah, because that was a huge draw. They raised more money than the fight with UFC 100 with Brock Lesnar and Frank Mir. That was like the last huge draw the UFC has ever seen, until McGregor and Diaz went at it.
200 was a big draw.
Yeah, it was a big draw. It's just that at a level like Diaz and McGregor, it was just it was unbelievable. That the draw, the pay-per-view draw was just so outrageous. So, maybe we might see that with Stipe and DC.
Yeah.
Who knows? So look forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. So now looking forward to the next couple of pay-per-views, there is a Yoel Romero versus Luke Rockhold for the, I believe it's the middleweight championship. Now Rockhold has kind of gone back and forth in the middleweight title too, because Bisping obviously took it from him. He eventually won it back. So Rockhold, I see him as a very good fighter.
Right.
But Yoel Romero is kind of a genetic freak. To a little bit like reminds me of the Ngannou fight too.
Yeah.
Where you have this genetic guy that's really good, but necessarily hasn't been in a title fight yet, versus a guy that's been in many title fights in Luke
veteran, and almost in a way,
Do you think that matters for Romero, or do you think he's so skilled that he could still beat Rockhold without it mattering that it'd be a title fight?
I think probably Rockhold would probably take it.
You think Rockhold will still take it?
Yeah, he'll take it.
It's an interesting fight because Rockhold's been so kind of up and down too ever since he lost obviously he had the fight with Chris Weidman way back in the day.
Yeah.
Too. Not way back in the day, but a couple years ago. So
yeah, it's just not too recent.
It was. I remember he was on that McGregor Aldo card. That was the fight. But so that's interesting, and I believe
Aldo's actually local here in Orange County.
local?
Yeah, my friend.
I thought he was more from Brazil. I thought he trained.
No, my friend. He saw Aldo here in Lake Forest, like getting pizza. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, there is. I mean. We'll probably talk about this a little bit. Rampage Jackson he used to train.
I saw him.
Yeah.
I actually saw him here at the 24-hour fitness here in Ladera Ranch, and he's local.
It's
and
amazing.
I saw him.
He just goes into 24-hour fitness and sees the Rampage Jackson.
And I saw him he was walking.
Fantastic.
He was walking past by me, and he was looking all pissed and all.
That's Ryan's phone that just went off, by the way.
He hate me.
Yeah.
Because, Vince McMahon's bringing back XFL.
Yeah, Rampage just walked past by me, and looks like he just got done with his workout, and he just looked all pissed, trying to looking all tough, and I just saw him, and I was like, that was just Rampage Jackson that just walked past by me.
That's crazy.
What the hell? Is that? It's not an illusion. That's him.
Actually,
I actually got to start going to the gym more if I'm going to see Rampage.
Yeah, exactly.
I got to start going to the gym.
Not only he's local, but also Eva. What's her?
Marie.
Eva Maria. Yeah.
Yeah, my mom works in New Homes.
Yeah.
And she actually her and that whatever the guy's name was that she's going out with or married to, they came into my mom's work and asked for a house. My mom actually told them, nah, these aren't the homes for you. You want to get something nicer. That's just super inside real estate.
Dude,
wow.
Even Marie actually.
Dude.
My mom's like, you guys, who's the girl with the red hair from WWE? And I'm like, Eva Marie. She's like, oh, she came to my work today. I'm like, oh, okay, thanks, Mom.
I
for
saw
letting
her
me know and not having me show up at work just all of a sudden.
Oh, you want to stalk her, Dad?
No, I wanted to meet her. I was in the area.
That's weird.
I saw her twice.
Come on, Ryan, you wouldn't want to meet her either.
I saw her twice at the Spectrum, and because my friend works there at Javier's, he tells me oh, Eric, do you know Eva Marie? Oh yeah, from WWE, yeah, she's right there. And I was like, that's Eva Marie, and she's with her dad, her mom, everybody, and that's her.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably not the best time to go over and say hi. I'm a big
I know,
fan.
yeah. I didn't want to say
I'm not
hi,
a big fan of saying hi to any celebrities, to be honest.
Honestly,
let them do what
especially
they're doing.
during their time off, and that's their time. So yeah, I just got to give some respect.
I mean, if
some
you're in
privacy to
line,
them.
if you're in line and you guys have a casual interaction, and that's pretty cool. But going up to them, all those fans. And by the way, if you're one of those people who like to stalk wrestlers at the airport, stop it.
Stop it.
Stop it right now.
Stop
okay?
it right now. It's not gonna work.
Okay. Stop it, especially the female wrestlers. Okay,
Oh, yeah.
all right, you're gonna end up on Twitter with the hashtag Me Too.
end up like Enzo.
Okay, all right, allegedly. Okay,
Allegedly, you're gonna end up like Enzo. Yes,
Okay.
correct. Okay, one more fight I want to talk to you about. Tony Ferguson versus Khabib. I'm not gonna say his last name because it's very hard to pronounce. This is a big fight because I think Khabib is potentially one of the best fighters in UFC as well. With John Jones out, I think you could possibly say that Khabib is the best fighter in UFC. He doesn't have the title yet. Tony Ferguson has the title.
Yeah.
This fight has been marred by injuries too. This is supposed to happen twice in the past. It has to happen because one guy got injured the first time, then another guy got injured the second time. This is a fight also, listen to this, at the Barclays Center on April 7th. So this is a big weekend. It's also when the NXT pay-per-view is.
Right.
Presumably for the WrestleMania
it's gonna be a
NXT
big
takeover.
Yeah.
So So that is a big weekend for fights.
Right.
Interesting that the UFC is putting on this big of a card as well on a WrestleMania weekend, too.
I'm going to have to go with Khabib on this one. If I'm rooting for him, but at the end, I think probably a guy like Ferguson would probably take it. Yes, he's the champion and all, but I believe that Khabib, he will try to wear him out, but it's probably going to go down to a unanimous decision, probably.
Interesting. Okay, so they're going the full way?
Yeah, they're probably going to go in the full
and
way.
You're going Khabib?
Yeah.
Well, we'll predict those, obviously, when they come up and stuff like that.
Yeah, but until like that
but we are just bringing you up some of the fights we're excited about. And obviously, we talked about 220.
Mm-hmm.
Anything interesting that you saw from the Bellator card at all? I thought the one thing I'd have to say about Sonnen and Jackson, this heavyweight Grand Prix, is if it's eventually for it to be the title, why not have all the fights be 5 rounds?
Yeah, because this isn't the UFC. This is Bellator. This is a whole different organization. So, for 2 veterans to go at it, like they should be used to, going through 5 rounds. So,
exactly.
A guy like Sonnen and Rampage, who are veterans and they've been in the octagon for a long time, I think they should have put it. But eventually, I don't know how Bellator's rules are with their policy and the regulations and all. So I think like with that fight between Sonnen and Jackson, I predicted it. I knew that Sonnen was going to take it.
Yeah.
I had a feeling that Jackson wasn't going to win that fight. I knew that he was going to get gassed out, and a guy like Sonnen, he would just pick him apart and just rip him apart. So Sonnen, it
seemed like Sonnen was ready for the fight more.
Oh, yeah.
But that's the reason I say it would be 5 rounds is because Sonnen kind of fights a boring style. It's on the ground.
Yeah.
Quentin Jackson also came out and said that he didn't want to, he didn't want to roll around on the floor. I forget the quote he had, but he said that he didn't. He kind of wanted people to stand up with him and fight him.
There are times when I remember, like when he was still in the UFC, like Rampage Jackson, like he was unmotivated to fight, train, like he didn't want to train, and that kind of made me wonder, like, is he really training like 5 days a week or like two or three times, a day? I thought he would be doing that, but there were signs that he wasn't training.
Yeah.
So
that's
who
why
knows?
he lost.
Yeah. So
that's why he lost.
Who knows? Like he might probably carry that over with Bellator. Who knows? Because I know that he did open up a Rampage Fitness gym not too long ago here in Orange County. So I'm not sure if it's still there, but I know for a fact that if Jackson wants to get back, I think he would train more.
I don't think he's completely done with fighting. But
No, he's not.
I just think there was a limited chance he was going to win that fight anyways.
Yeah, with Sonnen,
But I also think the only way he could have won it, and there's a chance if it was 5 rounds.
Right.
I think if you're having a tournament to eventually crown your heavyweight championship for your promotion, have all the fights be 5 rounds.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, so coming up on about the 2-hour mark of this podcast too. So we probably should end it off, right?
Wait a minute.
Well, you wanted to mention something about
the XFL.
Well, you wanted to talk about Vince and stuff like
that. The Vince McMahon XFL. Apparently, as of right now, as we're recording, it's expected from Vince McMahon and his group that he purchased, Alpha Entertainment, to announce the XFL. In fact, he's bringing it back.
That's insane.
Now, okay. I think this has to do with the fact that Vince McMahon is insecure with his legacy. Because why would you want to go into this venture so late in your life? You're 70, 72, 71 years old. I forgot. He's in his 70s. You're in your 70s. You're clearly established with the WWE. You just all of a sudden start to sell away your stock. Okay, you're losing control of your company, and then all of a sudden you say, okay, this venture that I did 15 years ago that failed epically, I'm going to redo it again. Like, that just doesn't make any sense unless you're just insecure. And I would say it's a midlife crisis, but the man's 70 now. So he's just insecure about where he's at, in my opinion.
You don't think that people are going to watch the XFL if he brings it back, though? I'm going to watch it for sure.
I mean, if he does it during the summer when there's absolutely no football around, when there's nothing going on,
off-season,
absolutely I'll watch it. But that's not the point, though. Will it be successful?
It was.
He
back
does have
in
to pick.
2001.
He does have to pick the right time to do it, though, because if you're doing it during the summer, you're also competing with the NBA Finals and the Stanley Cup Finals.
No, he can just do it in July and August.
Okay.
But then again, the players will want. But and I saw this article on ESPN.
I think you do it more like around WrestleMania time.
I saw
right now.
No.
I think you'd do it right after the Super Bowl.
I think, you know what? And I saw this article on ESPN. If you want it to have the XFL be successful, you've got to have an actual legitimate player, a superstar, come over to the XFL. Like Drew Brees' contract.
Tom
Brady.
No, Tom Brady's not going to leave New England, okay? Tom Brady walks on water in New England, okay? You know, and I still believe that Tom Brady could be God's nephew. Because of that SNL skit. There's an SNL skit with Tim. Just look up SNL skit Tim Tebow, and you'll see why I think Tom Brady is God's nephew.
Do you think Roman Reigns will, switch on over?
To where? To football?
To XFL, like he did with the...
I would be down if he gets him off our television screens every WrestleMania season, sure.
Yeah, because...
Get him off.
He used to be a football player, too, The guy also,
these teams are going to be comprised of Bill Goldberg,
the Reigns.
Brock Lesnar, all these former football players.
Yeah.
Sean Merriman.
Or maybe Vincent Mann is going to be on my team, the Carolina Panthers. Maybe.
Goldberg used to play for the Panthers.
He did play for the Carolina, and he got cut.
Yeah,
and then he sued us.
We're not talking about the Panthers.
Okay.
Right? This is a wrestling podcast, Ryan.
I'm just saying, if Vince McMahon buys the Carolina Panthers, I would have it at. There'll be wrestling matches in the stadium.
Are you seeing rumors that the XFL is the announcement, or are you just guessing?
I am seeing rumors that it's according to sources, it's legitimate that XFL is being announced. Okay, and they filed a trademark.
Being announced at 12 o'clock
our time, 3 o'clock on the
Pacific
east.
You guys say Pacific too.
Pacific, and then 3 o'clock on the east. But it could have came out by now. If it comes out when we release this podcast, my bad, y'all. But as far as the XFL going, I think it's a bad decision.
Yeah.
I think Vince McMahon's insecure with his legacy, and I think at the end of the day, he's gonna have to come up with some major ideas that are revamped. And obviously, I think he's going to be leaving the company soon and giving it up to Triple H.
That is so bombshell of an announcement, Ryan. You think he's leaving the WWE?
He has to, because
why does he have to?
Okay, so I listened to Bruce Pritchard podcast, okay, and he was talking about how he had to grab people, Bruce Pritchard, Michael P.S. Hayes, derp. He had to grab Michael P.S. Hayes. He had to grab all those creative staff and bring them over to the XFL because he needed their input. He was splitting time between WWE and the XFL situation. So why not? You have a young son-in-law. You have a young daughter. They're smart. They're intelligent. They've got fresh ideas for the company. Maybe your ideas aren't as...
updated
as they should be now,
or
current. So why not go ahead and give your son-in-law and your daughter full control of the company, and you go ahead and focus on this full business venture and try to create a legacy outside of wrestling. If they don't want to stay in wrestling in 10, 15 years.
Well, also Triple H has a pretty good mindset when it comes down to NXT. I mean, I'll give him credit
with that. That's debatable.
Yeah.
That's debatable.
What's debatable? But NXT has been the most popular thing the last 2 years.
Well, their pay-per-views have been, but do you watch their weekly programming?
Their weekly programming.
Yeah, and that's the problem. The fact that you don't care about their weekly programming is the problem.
It's on the WWE Network anyways. It doesn't. It's not like it's generating revenue off USA Network. It doesn't have to be that good.
Well,
all that really matters is the pay-per-views. That's also true, to be honest, a little bit with WWE. Obviously, they want Raw and SmackDown to be great, but as long as the pay-per-views are unbelievable, people are going to watch the shows.
Just the only thing, for Triple H is that, he does have a pretty good mindset, pretty good creative mindset. Just, I believe that the problem with this guy is that he believes his own hype, and he believes that he wants to come in, every single, one WrestleMania time. He wants to come in one WrestleMania event, and then after that he just takes time off.
Well, if you can still go, why not do it?
Yeah, and then
it's that simple.
Yeah, I feel he only wrestles 2 or 3 times a year, and he's becoming more like a part-timer, and he believes he is this some sort of wrestling god. Sometimes he actually believes he's some sort of
Triple H?
Yeah, sometimes I believe.
JBL?
Yeah, well, wrestling god. Yeah, just sometimes I believe that Triple H just believes in his own hype. So
That's the problem with him. But creative wise, I think he has a pretty good mind.
He is pretty good.
Hey man, I think at the end of the day, if Vince McMahon wants to do XFL, he's got to put all his resources, whether financially, whether mentally, his physical well-being.
He's got to think about this.
He's got to put.
Quick.
Well, he's making the announcement today, and all signs point to the X.
This is why it wasn't one of the triple threat topics, because we don't even know.
Well, next week it'll be a triple threat topic for sure.
I think we're out of time now, dude.
We're coming up on 2 hour mark. That's what I said. Probably close it now. Anybody have any closing? Anybody else want to say anything else?
Hey man, raise a glass in the sky and salute the ring generals.
Yes, salute the ring generals.
Salute.
All right, that's a good podcast, guys. Good first podcast. You know, I'm excited we're doing this. Try to get this going and try to get our wrestling opinions out there and stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Any other opinions as we possibly
spread the word, okay? Spread the word about the ring generals, okay? And follow us all on social media.
Absolutely. Hey, why don't you list your social media? Go ahead. Give your usernames and stuff like that.
RKJ Man 21 on Instagram, at RKJ Man on Twitter.
Nice.
And Instagram at Santo, and also Eric Santos on Facebook, and also check us out on our radio station, OC Rock Radio.
Oh, yeah, good plug. Good plug. I'm pretty much at Nick Nenad, lowercase letters, on most of my social media. And I also have a show on OC Rock Radio called the Cover 2 Podcast, a sports podcast. So tune into both of this podcast.
If you love football, baseball,
exactly.
Also
Eric, you're slamming Saturday morning too.
Hype your show.
Slamming Saturdays every Saturday morning, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., where you have metal bands going at it, and I also give wrestling updates as well. So if you can't catch the podcast here, you can also catch my show on Saturdays.
Should we say where Ryan works so people can visit him?
No, don't. I don't want people coming in trying to get free stuff.
Okay, I got you.
No,
I got you. So, it's a podcast, guys. Also, I have a Snapchat, but don't Snapchat me. I don't use it.
Yeah, nobody does that now. It's Instagram. It's Instagram
I'm not
stories.
a 15-year-old girl in high school, so I don't need Snapchat.
Yeah, I don't do that. I do Instagram stories now.
Exactly. So, hey, good podcast, guys.
Hey man, salute to all of y'all.
Salute to the ring generals. Raise a glass to the ring generals.